bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code HERD, H-E-R-D. That's code HERD for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/bball for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in for real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh, yeah. It's time to get up and get your day started. Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker! It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Welcome into Sports 56 Mornings on this Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, and a cast of thousands from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Summertime is upon us, although officially not starting yet. It will start. What's the date on the start of summer? Like June 21st? Somewhere in that neighborhood?
20th or 21st, I'm not sure which one.
Feels like summer, though, begins at the beginning of May here in the Memphis area, and they got all types of great deals for your summer at Family Leisure, including above-ground pools, patio umbrellas, hot tubs, more and more stuff for your summer experience. Check them out at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. If you haven't been there, it's a really cool place to just walk around, observe, and take in, and then decide if you want to get anything or not. The first hour of the program also brought to you by the Big Green Egg, which is a big part of your summer as well. We thank all our great sponsors. Currently 61 degrees, feels really nice outside. It will warm up to 85 today. Mixture of clouds and sun, but mostly sun. And then tonight, clear skies with a low of 60 degrees. Should be another pleasant day before the warmer temperatures start to roll in. We got sunshine in the forecast all the way through the weekend, with temperatures slowly rising to the upper 90s. Sunday, 98, the projected high, and the humidity comes back, so that feel like will be in triple digits. We got a busy show for you today. Coming up on the show at 8:05, we'll talk Memphis Tigers football, maybe even sneak a little Grizzlies in with Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal. Yesterday, our buddy Phil Steele's magazine was released, and the Tigers are littered all over his all-AAC teams, and even a player gets a nod on one of the preseason All-American teams from Phil. We'll go over that list a little bit later on, and we'll talk to Jonah about all the moves that the Tigers have made, the anticipation for what could be a very special year. At 8:25, we'll talk some soccer with Lawrence Dockery. Memphis 901 FC has a busy week. They got a match tonight, a match on Saturday, plus the United States men's soccer team is in action as well, and they got routed the other day. Just how bad are they? Or maybe that was just a one-off as far as what they'll do this upcoming season. Lawrence Dockery at 8:25. At 9:05, we'll talk Grizzlies, the NBA playoffs, the NBA draft with DeMichael Cole. We're 2 weeks and 1 day away from the start of the draft. 2 weeks from tomorrow. And, of course, it's now 2 days, the NBA draft, for the first time. So it'll be a Thursday and a Friday a couple of weeks from now, as the Grizzlies will certainly be one of the most intriguing teams in the draft. So again, Jonah Dillon, 805, Lawrence Dockery, 825, to Michael Cole, 905. We'll take your calls and your texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. The NBA Finals resumes tonight with Game 3. We had an amazing pitcher's duel last night, a rarity anymore in Major League Baseball. We're getting ready for the U.S. Open, minus one huge name that we'll talk about. It's all coming up on the program today. Good morning.
Good morning.
What a day it was yesterday weather-wise. Anytime that you have a little bit of a breeze in the May through October, early October time period in Memphis, and it's less humidity, it feels great. It's rare. Take advantage of it. Man, it was nice yesterday.
Yeah, it's been a few days. Especially like at the later in the afternoon, early evening, man, it is absolutely perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I was out last night when I went to walk my dog about 9:30 or so. It was like, there was like almost a little chill in the air. Like I was like, well, this is it feels like it's like October out here. It's been terrific. Going to be another terrific day today. Going to get warmer this weekend, that is for sure. But yeah, this is certainly we are in a good weather pattern right now.
Couple of things I wanted to open up the show with before we get to talk about the NBA Finals, and two interesting topics. Number one is last night in St. Louis, your beloved Cardinals taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we had a great pitcher's duel. You don't see him that often anymore, but Paul Skeens, the rookie for the Pirates. I haven't kept up with how other rookies are doing in baseball this year. Maybe there's somebody that I'm missing that's just crushing it. But Paul Skeens seems like he's on his way to Rookie of the Year, right?
Could be. Obviously, my boy Shota is having
Shota's having a great
pretty
year.
darn good year.
He is. Shota's having a great year.
But yeah, Skeens has been absolutely terrific since coming up.
6 1/3 innings last night. Gave up 5 hits, no runs, struck out 8. But Miles Michaelis was going pitch for pitch. 7 innings pitched for the Cardinals hurler. Gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. The Cardinals would eventually lose to the Pirates 2-1. That's part of the story. The bigger story to me is when Paul Skeens left the game at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, after he just stymied the Cardinals, the home team, he got a standing ovation. This wasn't a dude getting a milestone, like a 3,000th hit, or becoming the all-time home run leader, or doing this or doing that. It was a pitcher, a rookie, who had a really good game against your team. And the fans stood and gave him that ovation. Okay. The Cardinals fans, I know, are just baseball enthusiasts, and they love the game, and they appreciate the game, and that's fine and good. But I have never seen anything like that. I can't even imagine growing up, going to all those Phillies games I went to, if Tom Seaver or a Mets pitcher stymied the Phillies, that they would stand. I mean, they would pelt the dude. They would throw things at him. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do. In fact, it's not. It's the wrong thing to do. But the Cardinals fans, and I know you make fun of them, but they are, I don't know if it's a cut above the rest or just different, because that is rare to see.
Yeah, I would say it's rare to see. I would say I certainly would never do it, but whatever.
Nor would I.
But yes, they are the best fan base of baseball. Just ask them.
Now, I'm not saying they're the best fans in baseball. I'm just saying that they are appreciative.
You don't have to say it. They say it quite often.
Do they? What, your buddies that are Cardinals fans?
Any Cardinal fan. Just listen
Really?
to a Cardinal fan talk. They'll always tell you how they're the best fans in baseball.
So I never hear that. I always hear the Cardinal way. The Cardinal way this, the Cardinal way that. And I know we have a lot of Cardinals fans in this area. We have friends that are Cardinals fans. And that's fine. I appreciate their appreciation for the great game, America's pastime. But that has to be a rarity. I mean, again, They're standing for this kid coming out of the game after he just shut them down, mowed them down. Makes no sense to me. But that's what happened. But in the end, the Pirates got the last laugh, winning 2-1. The other thing,
half the teams, by the way, last night that played in Major League Baseball scored 3 runs or less.
Nice to see that every once in a while.
Right now, offense is way down.
Is it?
Yes.
Not with the Dodgers or Yankees, I can tell you that much. Dodgers scored 15 last night, hit, was it 3 or 4 home runs in the 6th inning of their game?
They hit 4.
They hit 4 home runs in an inning. Shohei Ohtani hit one. Freddie Freeman hit one. So the Dodgers are certainly hitting the ball. Phillies are hitting the ball. Schwarber had 2 home runs. Former Cub. Sorry to bring that up. And the Yankees continue to mash the ball. Aaron Judge hit his 25th home run. 69 games the Yankees have played. I'm not sure if Judge has played in all games. He's probably missed a game or two. 69 games, he has 25 home runs. He is on a torrid pace, and he's been red hot. But anyway, the other thing comes from the world of football, NFL. Yesterday, I mentioned the story that Aaron Rodgers had missed a day of minicamp. Not voluntary. So this was fine-worthy. It was mandatory. You don't go, you get fined unless you have an excuse that the organization accepts. If they have okayed your excuse to miss the minicamp day. Aaron did not have an excuse, and Robert Saleh came out and said that he elected to skip the practice because there's something very important that he has to do in his life. I thought that was a one-off. So I see the story this morning that he is skipping the entire mandatory minicamp because, quote, he needs to be somewhere else away from football. That's vague. I don't know what that means. It's none of our business, but it's certainly the Jets organization's business, and it's Robert Saleh's business, because here's a guy who played, 3 downs last year?
I believe it was the 3rd play that he got hurt on.
Coming back from a major operation. The Jets have put all their eggs in the one basket. They make the trade to bring in the future Hall of Famer. The first year's a disaster. You hope the second year will be a great year. Not a good year, a great year. You make moves that coincide with what he needs and what he wants. And then he skips a mandatory minicamp. I understand. It's minicamp. Or as Allen Iverson would say, we're talking about practice. We're talking about practice here. Not a game. We're talking about practice. But nevertheless, that's your leader. That's the guy that they all look up to or should look up to. But now you wonder if they do look up to. This is probably a lot bigger than people imagine. I'm not saying that means they go off the rails and have a disastrous year if he stays healthy. I'm talking, this is all contingent on him playing because we still think he has something left in the tank as a player. I think most of us think that anyway. But as far as a leader and putting himself in good standing with the teammates and the fan base, this ain't good.
I would guess there's probably a good chance he's on one of his darkness retreats.
I mean, if it's something like that, that's inexcusable. If there's a issue in his personal life with a family member or something, I mean, that's understandable. And that you would think information would be relayed to the team and the team would understand that. Instead, Saleh comes out. And I have no problem with Saleh coming out and calling him out, going public. Some people have already bellyached about Robert Saleh that you try to keep it in-house. Well, it's impossible to keep it in-house when your star quarterback isn't there. When the media asks questions, especially the New York media, where Aaron Rodgers is, what are you going to say? Well, he's being honest. He said that he feels that there's somewhere else he needs to be instead of being on the football field.
Aaron's a weird cat. You kind of know what you're getting into with Aaron Rodgers these days.
You would think, but this could be, when it's all said and done, one of the biggest disasters of a trade in NFL history. He needs to come through for his team and be big this year. Again, there's not much you can do for injuries, but it counts. It's still part of it when you look back at, who won the trade, who did this, who did that. Right?
We're good. I mean, I think I'm not going to sit here and act like Aaron Rodgers missing a off-season mini camp is going to mean that he's going to be terrible. I mean,
no, there's no
37th year in the league, whatever. I don't care.
That doesn't necessarily equate to a bad season, right? And that's the point I made when I started to talk about this topic. I'm just telling you, endearing your teammates, endearing the fans. We're not talking about a voluntary OTA. We're talking about now the first really big practice session of a team before they get to camp. And he's not there.
The Drew texted in on the Skeens thing. He said, never too early to start recruiting Skeens. And we are the best fans in baseball, Eli. Raider Corey says that applause you heard was an applause of frustration and a message to the front office to draft better. He says that I'm an objective Cardinals fan, so I'm not on Eli's list of annoying fans.
No, they were cheering for Paul Skeens. They were showing their appreciation for that guy's performance. And again, I'm not going to knock him. I'm just saying it's rare. It's something very unusual. Believe me, I grew up and still am a Phillies fan. I know our fan base. We're loyal as hell, and we're there for that team. But my gosh, we're not the greatest, believe me. If you want to go and get into a brawl, either end up in Los Angeles, you know that firsthand.
They could have been applauded.
Philadelphia, New York.
That he was out of the game, and they don't have to face him anymore.
I don't think so. Maybe a few of them were sarcastic like that, but I think most of them were appreciative. I was at a series with the Phillies and the Cardinals a couple years ago. Phillies swept them. And the Cardinals fans were just, they're so nice. It's a pleasure to go to that game because you're not going to get the craziness for the most part that you get when you go to a game in New York and Philadelphia. I know this firsthand. Chicago, I've been to a few games, but you've been to tons of them, so I don't know if it's like that in Chicago. LA's really bad, especially if they're playing the Giants and vice versa. But in Philadelphia, there's a good chance that there's going to be a jerk behind you, a jerk in front of you, a jerk on the side of you, and something's going to happen. And you don't want that for your children when you bring little kids. It happens. I know with alcohol comes fans behaving unruly, and that can happen anywhere, and probably does. But I think the high volume in Philadelphia is pretty bad. But what they're not going to do, they're going to support their team, and if their team screws up, they're going to boo their team. But they're never going to applaud for the other team. That's never, ever going to happen. Ever.
Tiger Steve texts in. He says, another reason I'm glad he's off my Packer team.
I'm sure. I mean, Jordan Love had a breakthrough year last year. I'm not sitting here going to say Jordan Love is going to be as good as Aaron Rodgers. But it was time. It was absolutely time for the Packers to move on.
Another text says, I can't believe, first of all, that people take Rodgers crap. He's a jackass. He's only won one Super Bowl. One Super Bowl. He acts like he's a god. He thinks that he can be put in the same breath with Tom Brady, and he can't even lace the guy's shoes.
Well said. Can't argue with that. I mean, Rodgers will always be looked at as one of the greats because his physical tools, his knowledge of the game, his performance for the most part. But the bottom line is, yes, one Super Bowl win. One Super Bowl win. So he's going to be knocked by purists that understand the game and not just like give in to a guy that seems to go unscathed when it comes to football criticism. Now, criticism of his wacky life, that's he's very similar to Kyrie in that sense. Strange.
And you
can be different.
The Jets knew what they were signing up for. They were able to go get
They did.
4-time MVP quarterback. So
that's why Saleh has the right to be outspoken the way he is about what's happened this week. And even though it may not dictate what will happen in the fall, I'm glad he's come out guns a-blazing. And I don't know. They may know. I don't know what's the deal. Is there a solar eclipse of the sun? Didn't we just have that? And maybe he's going to Calgary to watch it. I don't know what the hell's going on in that guy's world. But it doesn't help when most of those players are there. Now, Reddick's not there because he's not happy with his contract after the trade with the Eagles, Hassan Reddick. But everybody else is there, and they're looking at their captain. Captain, my captain is not there. That can't sit well with them. That's all I'm saying. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, news from the U.S. Open. They're going to be without one of their stars. We will talk about that. As I mentioned, Memphis football, Phil Steele's magazine is out, the preseason college football magazine, and the Memphis Tigers, and those names are littered all over the all-AAC teams, including some guys that, or at least one guy that's mentioned on the All-American teams, according to Phil Steele. We will go over that when we return. Again, we'll take your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. If there is a basketball player in your family, and there's got to be, right? People love the sport of basketball. Maybe it's you. Or maybe it's a son or daughter or a grandson or granddaughter. Maybe you're the coach of a team. And you want players to improve on their game, especially improve their shooting. Well, there is a place in Memphis to do so. In fact, there are now going to be 2 places in Memphis. It's called Shoot 360 Memphis. Perfect your shot, challenge yourself, compete with others, learn the proper ways to shoot the basketball using modern analytics. This is great for little kids, just learning the game, but also for stars, for guys and gals that are really good right now. You could always be better because pros use this system, like Steph Curry. It's a revolutionary training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with expert coaching to improve shooting skills. The facility is equipped with advanced shooting machines that provide real-time feedback on shooting accuracy and arc and depth. Players can track their progress and analyze their performance. Again, players of all skill levels can benefit from the personalized training programs that they provide. Again, if this is something that interests you, if you're a basketball player or know of a basketball player, have a basketball player in your family, they want to get better, they want to improve their shooting, go there and take a tour and see what I'm talking about. It's unreal. I've been to the Collierville location. The Cordova location will be opening in the next 2 weeks. You can become a member at either location or even a member at both locations in Collierville and Cordova. Just go online to Shoot 360 Memphis to sign up or call them at 901-316-5500. Great people. They will help you. They'll steer you in the right direction. It's where the preps and the pros go to get their shot on. Shoot 360 Memphis. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Celebrate Father's Day this year at Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf, featuring the Callaway AI Smoke Woods and Irons. Now receive 2 times trade-in value towards any Callaway AI Smoke clubs. And from Bushnell, the new Tour V6 Series laser rangefinders provide you the most accurate distances in golf. Now $50 off. Shop with us this Father's Day in-store or online. Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Get there.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Got a car-loving dad? Nice. We've got a Father's Day sale. Right now, our Armor All Ultimate 8-piece bucket kit is just $25. That's soap, a wash mitt, wheel cleaner, tire shine, glass wipes, and interior wipes. Plus, a bucket to use for the wash. All for just $25 at the AutoZone Father's Day sale. Now through the 16th.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Not to brag, but Progressive's name your price tool is mankind's greatest tool. Even better than the wheel. Without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the name your price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And while cars do need wheels, they also need insurance. And insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever. Name your price tool at Progressive.com. There's a casualty insurance company that affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's taking some getting used to with this 55 bridge remaining closed at least for another 10 more days or so as that traffic increases here in the last few minutes on 55 up to South Haven coming northbound up out of DeSoto County. Still not bad right now. Inbound Lamar working your way up towards 240. A Weimer's Jewelry right here in Memphis located 7525 Highway 64 is your full service family owned jewelry store. I'm Commander Chuck with your on time traffic.
Welcome back, everybody. 7:27 the time. I've always said we have the greatest radio listeners in the world, the best, bar none, and they're always looking out for us. And over the break, actually got 2 texts on stories that are happening right now that I think are very radio worthy. And one comes from Louisville, Kentucky. There's a report out that also in this report quotes an assistant coach on the Louisville staff, Brian Cloman, that Louisville and Memphis are active in discussions to renew their old series, which they used to play religiously, but have only played 5 times on the basketball court in the last 20 years. But they are working on getting a multi-year series between the two schools starting in the 25-26 season, and they're working hard, according to this assistant coach, on a 4-year series with Memphis. Again, that would start in the 2025-26 season. Thanks, John, for that tip coming out of Louisville.
That'd be awesome. Be great to have Louisville back on the schedule. We'll see if Louisville ends up improving now that Kenny Payne is gone. It's been a couple of down years, but I would expect that Louisville will be able to get somewhat back on track, and it would be cool to see those two get back together again.
The pain is gone from Louisville. No more pain.
Well, they might have some more pain. There might be some more growing pains to get that program back on track. I don't know. We shall see, but he is gone.
But this is one of the areas where, again, you have to acknowledge whatever you think of Coach Hardaway and what he's done to this point, and he's done a lot of positive. And one is certainly going after everybody out there to play, and especially play home and homes. Because while neutral court games are cool and maybe cool for national TV, it really doesn't help with your home schedule and your home attendance. So getting these home and home series are pivotal. Re-upping with Ole Miss, Mississippi State, these are huge. But going after all these schools, I guarantee you, and I'm not sure if it's been reported, but I'm sure Penny has reached out to Cal at Arkansas. So he is not backing off of any program out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Penny over the last few years has reached out to Duke and North Carolina, Kentucky, name it. That's what Penny does. He wants to play the best. And I know Louisville has hit some hard times of late, but Louisville is still a storied program. And it's a storied rivalry between Memphis and Penny Hardaway and Louisville. I mean, it's just one that makes a lot of sense. So that's pretty cool news as far as the future with the Memphis Tigers basketball schedule. Also, the U.S. Open gets underway tomorrow from Pinehurst number 2, and it will be a major without a huge name. Jon Rahm, and I mentioned this on the show yesterday, who had to withdraw from the LIV tournament in Houston over the weekend. He left mid-round 2 because of some sort of foot injury, but it's really a toe injury, has withdrawn from the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I would say, and it's not necessarily it's not because of it or whatever, but some of the stuff that he's talked about, everything else. I would say that Jon Rahm's first year with LIV has not gone well.
Well, his bank account would differ.
He's
from what you're saying, but
he got the big check. That's right. I mean, more power to him. But it has not been a good year for Jon Rahm, other than that massive check, which that can make up for a lot.
Well, he's not happy, and in the last several weeks, talking foolishly about wanting his cake and eating it too. I mean, who knows what will happen in the future between PIF and the PGA Tour? But Jon Rahm it's not like he's gone in here and kicked tail. It's been very competitive. He's done okay, but yeah, and now the injury, misses a major. And I've heard that Jon Rahm can get emotional. Just maybe a rumor out there that he will fly off the cuff sometimes. I don't know. I've always thought mild-mannered. But anyway, he will miss the event. And according to our friend Brett, who's listening, not stats, Jackson Suber from Ole Miss will take Jon Rahm's place in the U.S. Open.
Cool. I had not seen who it was that was getting his spot, but cool. That's awesome for him.
Yeah, according to Brett, he said Suber has been playing on the Korn Ferry Tour. He played in some PGA events this year and has enough qualifying points to be an alternate, now moves into the field with Jon Rahm's absence. And, of course, news that maybe has flown a little bit under the radar. We talked about this after, I guess, qualifying for the U.S. Open, that Adam Scott was, at the moment, on the outside looking in as an alternate, but more than likely he would get in. He's in. So the streak continues for Adam Scott.
Yeah, it was, as the first alternate, it was really no doubt that he was going to get in. He actually got in a tragic way, but nonetheless, he's in the tournament.
And that streak goes back to, I want to say, is it 2001?
Yes, I believe so.
He has not missed a major since 2001. And Adam Scott's won what? One major? He won major or two majors?
He's only got the one Masters win, I believe. I don't think he.
I think that's it,
collapsed in the one British that he should have won. I think he's only got the one Masters win, if I'm not mistaken. Speaking of the U.S. Open, of course, U.S. Open always synonymous with Father's Day weekend. Also synonymous in the golf world with Father's Day weekend is always the kickoff of the St. Louis Church hole-in-one contest. Boy, if only they could have been this week with the weather we've had.
I know, I was thinking the same thing.
The St. Louis Church hole-in-one contest will get underway this weekend, of course, run through next week, and always a great event out there at St. Louis Church, big fundraiser for them, just a great, great time out there. I've got a couple of free large buckets of balls that I will give to caller number 3 at 360-8255, 360-8255. Caller number 3, get a couple of free large buckets of balls to go out and use whenever you'd like. You can use them any night out at the St. Louis Church hole-in-one contest. So caller number 3, 360-8255, a couple of large buckets of balls. We'll be giving away those buckets of balls throughout the rest of the week and into next week as well. Your opportunity to go out there and have a good time.
By the way, if you want to drop a few pounds, a few lbs, go out there and hit a couple of large buckets of balls.
Oh, it's
the steaminess that it usually is, you will drop a few pounds, I guarantee you.
It's always a great little workout. It's my exercise for the year. Is the St. Louis Church hole-in-one contest. That's what I like. It's really my workout for the year. Mentioned John Rahm not being in the U.S. Open. But that's not nearly as big a news as the absence of Joey Chestnut from the Nathan's hot dog eating contest coming up on the 4th of July.
You're reading my mind.
When we're talking about absences from an event,
why have the event?
It can't get any bigger than Joey Chestnut not being allowed to participate in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
The PGA Tour survived even when Tiger Woods did not participate in a major. But you're going to tell me that the Nathan's hot dog eating contest is going to survive without Joey Chestnut? There's no way.
Well, now there's some doubt about who will win. Now you actually have competition.
But who cares? I don't care because, first of all, the record isn't falling. They're not going to get close to the numbers that Joey Chestnut would put up. Is it a sick event to watch? It is. And I turn my head when they're dunking the damn hot dog buns into the water. I don't like to see that. But I watch it because, number one, the announcer, who is also, I think, part of the actual company that owns this contest, he's great. He is one of the best. And the build-up before it's just fantastic. I love the whole thing except for when they're actually dunking the hot dog buns into the water. It makes me sick. But Joey Chestnut, whoever wins this year won't come within 25 hot dogs of Joey Chestnut's record. But as I said on Twitter yesterday, not having Joey Chestnut at the hot dog eating contest on Coney Island is like going to see the Rolling Stones without Mick Jagger. Or having a BLT. You had a delicious BLT yesterday over at Galloway. Having a BLT without the bacon. Just be the LT. Just be a Lawrence Taylor. You can't do it. So they're going to try. But why? People right now are wondering, why is Joey Chestnut not involved in this? It's not because he got ill. There's no way he's getting ill from all these eating contests he's involved in, right? Why would he get ill? No, he has been denied a spot in this event because he has signed a deal with a vegan hot dog company. And so Nathan's is up in arms. He has signed with a rival. I don't know why a vegan hot dog company is a rival of a hot dog company. If you don't eat meat,
because they're hot dogs.
They're vegan hot dogs, though.
They sell hot dogs. That makes you competition.
But if you're not eating meat, it doesn't matter. They're not eating.
Have you ever had an Impossible hot dog, by the way, Zach?
Yes.
Are they good?
I guess so. I don't know what a real hot dog
I know.
tastes
I mean, you like them? You enjoy an Impossible hot dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's probably crap we don't know that's in the Impossible hot dog, like we don't know is in a real hot dog. But we do know there's some beef, some meat in a regular hot dog. So the vegans do not eat that. The vegetarians do not eat that. Why is that competition? That's not the audience you're going after. And now you're losing your top draw. I mean, the next thing you're going to tell me, and this is just far-fetched, but the next thing you're going to tell me is the U.S. women's Olympic basketball team is going to go to Paris and they're not going to bring their biggest draw. That's the next thing you're going to tell me. I know that's impossible. Those things don't happen in real life. So Joey Chestnut, not in the hot dog eating contest. Why watch it? The ratings will
you're
plummet.
the one, you always complain when Alabama's constantly there. You always say, I want new blood. I hate watching the same team every.
I do say
this
that.
This is the thing. Like, if you why watch it when Joey Chestnut's there? You know who's going to win.
Well,
you know the ending.
If Alabama was the only thing in college football, then yeah, but Alabama's not. So you have other teams that could certainly run with the torch, pick up the torch and run with it. There's nobody. If Kobayashi was still involved, that's different. Then I'm watching. But he's been gone for a long time too. So you got no.
Why did he get out? Because it was a contract situation.
No, exactly. And I forget what contract. But again, this is a vegan hot dog. I don't get it. It's not competition.
Yes, it is. They're selling hot dogs.
Come on, Eli. Think about it.
You don't have to be a vegan to eat it. Meat eaters could eat it.
They're not eating vegan hot dogs. What meat eater out there is eating a vegan hot dog? Maybe they try it one time and just, okay, it tastes like that now.
I know meat eaters who go to Burger King and get the Impossible Whopper.
Well, they're idiots. You go to Burger King, you get a Whopper. You don't get an Impossible Whopper.
If you think it tastes the same and you think it's healthy or whatever, then you might go that route.
Healthy, smelthy. You go out there and you get the hamburger, you get the hot dog, like a good old American would do. The 4th of July is coming up.
My favorite part of this whole thing is the statement put out by Impossible Foods, their spokesperson, who's
I can't wait for this.
We love Joey and support him in any contest he chooses. It's okay to experiment with a new dog. Meat eaters shouldn't have to be exclusive to just one wiener. I know some women that live by that mantra, as a matter of fact.
This is a family show, Mr. Savoy.
I'll be interested to see who ends up now being the betting favorite.
I don't know. I watch it every year. I don't know if I can name I think there's a guy like Eater X or something. I can't name anybody else.
But now you might be able to make some money off of it if you could pick the winner, because the odds will be obviously you couldn't make money betting on Chestnut because he was an overwhelming favorite. Now there'll probably be fairly even odds, I guess. I don't know who's out dominating the circuit right now. I don't know who other.
There's no in-depth scouting report.
There might be a second person, like there might be somebody who dominates the eating circuit other than Joey Chestnut. I have no idea. So maybe there will still be a pretty big favorite, but certainly won't be as big a favorite as Joey Chestnut.
I wonder if Badlands Booker is going to be in it now.
Badlands Booker. Look at you looking up names. Come on now.
No, like that's his name.
You knew the guy?
Yeah. Because he was second behind Joey, but Joey was just...
By what, 30 hot dogs?
Yeah, by a lot.
Joey Chestnut is a 16-time winner of this event. And again, for the early years, Kobayashi was battling. This is ridiculous. Come on, I implore you people. Do not watch this. I wonder what the number of hot dogs, the over-under is. Because with Joey Chestnut, it would be like 70. I wonder what it is now. 40? This is un-American. I will not stand for it. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back,
See,
NBA
the problem
Finals,
before
Game 3 tonight.
The problem every year, we were exclusive to just one wiener in the contest.
Hey, you talk wieners. How about Big Green Egg? You can cook big wieners on the Big Green Egg.
I do. Maybe I'll try the impossible ones at some point.
You should let me know.
Don't go to his team.
I might give it. I've never tried any of the impossible stuff. I've never tried any of the.
It's an impossibility. I'm not trying.
Plant-based burgers or meats out there of any sort. Maybe one day I will break down and try those. But yes, you could certainly cook as many hot dogs as you possibly need. By the way, when the Showboats had the hot dog eating contest, one of their games, one of the people was doing the whole dipping the bun in water, and I was like, man, oh man, you are taking this way too seriously, because that is just flat out disgusting.
It's disgusting. How many hot dogs did they eat?
I don't know.
They probably ate 2 in 1 minute. When the Grizzlies do the ribs eating contest, I mean, let's put 30 seconds on the clock or whatever. Come on, man. If you want to do it legitimately. You know what you do? You get it started. You get the game started again. You keep that going. And you go back to it during timeouts periodically. Guy goes to the free throw line. Just take a little peek at what they're doing. Do it for 20 minutes. See how many ribs they eat. Not 30 seconds.
But yes, if you're having a hot dog eating contest, certainly you could cook all those hot dogs with the Big Green Egg. You can cook anything on the Big Green Egg, and it's going to come out delicious. Of course, whether it be going low and slow or need to fire that thing up to 700 degrees, anything in between, the Big Green Egg allows you to do it, and do it very easily. Go to BigGreenEgg.com for all the details on the best grill there is, the Big Green Egg.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's silly season in the life of your roof. I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. The weather can be unpredictable, and I'm ready to get more life out of your roof with our award-winning Owens Corning repair team. We're the repair guys the other repair guys call when they can't find the problem. Leaks become black mold when ignored. That's why when you call me, I start my inspection in the attic. Is it time for a beautiful new roof? 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you an estimate right over the phone. The best warranty in the business, including a warranty against ice dams. The only roofer in Memphis to offer a warranty against water intrusion due to snow buildup. Ask about military and first responder discounts. 901-867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Gold membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for unlimited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always shoot with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
It's June, and that means it's celebration month. Whether it's graduation from college, a wedding happening, or any other special occasion, take yourself and your merry band downtown to Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown neighborhood bar. The beauty of Bell Tavern, tucked away in historic Barbaro Alley, is that while it's right smack in the middle of downtown, it's also a quiet oasis with ice-cold beer, an easygoing atmosphere, and signature cocktails you won't find anywhere else. When it's time to celebrate in Memphis, it's time to celebrate at Bell Tavern.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Everyone is loving what they are doing at Genesis Diamonds right now. Hi, it's Eric Hasseltine inviting you to get the ring of your dreams and take advantage of 0% financing for 5 years. You can get a handcrafted designer ring with a GIA certified diamond for only $100 a month. Wedding bands, color bands, fashion necklaces, just $40 a month. Pick any item, pay $0 down, and spread your payments over 5 years. Don't miss this amazing offer. All natural and lab-grown diamonds included. Now through the end of June only, and only at Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901-316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
Now back to Sports 56 Sports 56. This hour brought to you by
So looking at the competitive eating rankings, Jeffrey Esper is your number 2 ranked eater right now. And he finished second last year.
How many hot dogs?
He did 49 last year to Chestnut 62.
So over under at 50 is a good number, actually.
And then James Webb, who finished 2 behind Esper last year, he is currently ranked number 5. Nick Weary, who was 4th last year, 4 behind Esper, he's ranked number 4. So you could have a very competitive contest this year between those. Your boy, Badlands Booker, he's the 26th ranked eater in the world right now. He's terrible.
Nothing bad about him.
He's in others receiving votes. He's in others receiving votes in the top 25. Like that's it. He's in others receiving votes at this point. The dude has no chance whatsoever. He's an also ran. He's just fat. That's all he is.
It's okay.
The other guys are skinny and they can eat way more than him. But so if you look at the 4 behind Chestnut last year, the next 4 guys were separated by only 8 hot dogs. So you could have and they're all the highly ranked people. So you could have a very competitive Nathan's contest this year. The betting, setting the betting market going to be very difficult on the bookmakers out there to try and figure that one out.
Sorry, no Chestnut. I don't care. Celtics and Mavericks tonight. I care about that. Game 3 with Boston leading 2-0. The line is now moved to Dallas minus 2.5. It opened at Dallas favored by 1.5. Dallas now favored by 2.5, according to the sharp minds in the desert. The over-under is 213.5. 7:30 tip Central Time on ABC. Kristaps Porzingis has what they are calling a rare injury to his leg. Rare injury. Did his leg fall off? That would be rare. He's listed as day-to-day. However, he said, unless they tell me I can't play, I'm ready to play. And Luka Doncic, in Game 2, when he had his triple-double, according to reports, had a pain-killing shot before the second game. So there's a possibility that they may shoot up Luka again for game number 3. But the Mavericks, to have any chance, need to win tonight. Boston has an unbelievable record when leading a best-of-7 series 2-0. It doesn't look good for my pick with the Mavericks. But tonight for game 3, I think we're going to see an inspired Kyrie Irving. I think the Mavericks will win tonight, game 3. I'm not willing to lay 2.5, though. But, on a money line bet, I'd play Dallas.
The Porzingis injury. I said this during the season with the Grizzlies. I'm starting to think they're just making stuff up with these injuries now. Like I don't think these are real things. It is a torn retinaculum allowing dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon.
Okay, sir.
Because I go back to Marcus Smart's finger injury, which I still don't understand anything about what it was. Like, I think these doctors now are just like, put a bunch of words down on a piece of paper and say, like, throw dislocation and torn in there. People will accept it. They don't have to know what's actually wrong with the guy.
We need Marcus Welby.
Who are we to argue?
Right.
I don't know even I have no idea if I'm even pronouncing it correctly. The retinaculum and the posterior tibialis tendon. I mean, what has happened to the ACLs and the MCLs of the world, and maybe a patellar tendon here or there?
Sure.
Or maybe maybe a dislocated ankle or something like that.
Foot injury. You got a foot injury.
Like, goodness gracious. Like,
it's like the Seinfeld.
Are we finding new body parts? Has technology allowed us to now we've just created new body parts? Have we evolved that new body parts have been created and that's what's happening? And that's what these guys are injuring? What is going on in the NBA?
It's like the Seinfeld episode when it was Jerry's car was getting maintenance. Brad Gilbert played the guy. And they say what's wrong with the car. And this is for us in real life, right? A mechanic tells you, well, something, and then remember when George goes, something's wrong with the Johnson rod. You don't know. Unless you're a mechanic, unless you know cars, they can tell you, well, this is the piston's off. Okay, I guess you're $2,300. Okay, I guess it needs it. It's just like with medical. You got this, you got that. Well, you're the experts. I guess you're right. I guess I need surgery.
Seems like it would be a doctor that'll tell you that something's wrong with the Johnson rod.
The Johnson rod.
That seems like you probably
remember
need
that?
A urologist.
Costanza?
That would be more of a urologist than a mechanic that would be giving you that information. But if your mechanic wants to give that to you as well, by all means.
That's funny.
So I have no idea how easy or hard it is to play with a torn retinaculum that allows for the dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon. It might not matter at all. Like, that could be something that you could play through. It might be something that is a real problem. Well, I don't know.
Porzingis was a difference maker in Game 1 coming off the bench. Game 2, he did some decent things, but wasn't a big factor. So I don't know. Game 3, I like Dallas in Game 3. Maybe I'm naive. What about you?
Well, I mean, I think if Dallas is, I mean, this is your back against the wall. Like, this is your desperation moment. So if you can't win Game 3 down 2-0 on your home floor, then that's not a good sign. So I would expect a strong effort tonight and give themselves a great opportunity to win the game.
If you don't win Game 3, you're more than likely going to get swept. No guarantees, but probably that would happen. There was an NBA report yesterday involving a coaching search, not the Lakers coaching search, but the Cavaliers coaching search, that it's down to 2 candidates. James Borrego, who's now an assistant with New Orleans, and Golden State assistant Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, Borrego is the favorite. He's an even money favorite to be the head coach in Cleveland. J.J. Redick is a minus 500 to be the new coach of the Lakers now, with all of this sorting out as far as the betting lines go out there from Bet Online. But yeah, Borrego and Atkinson, their names come up seemingly in every coaching search as former head coaches who are now assistants, and they seem to be the hot names in that group of the recycled coaches. So no surprise if that's the way that Cleveland goes with one of those guys.
How about the cat fight going on between Shams and Woj? Now, Woj isn't saying anything, but Shams, it's really interesting what's going on. And then you have others that are chiming in that some believe Skip Bayless, believes that Dan Hurley didn't even get an offer. I mean, what are you, crazy? That's crazy. But Shams saying, I know.
Skip Bayless.
I know, but Shams has said it, right? I mean, he didn't say that, but Shams has basically said it was kind of a last-ditch effort type thing, that he's still not the main, he wasn't the main candidate. I don't get it. I don't understand. Look, if you report something and you're wrong, you're wrong. Just face the fire. And I'm going to believe that Woj is right on this one and Shams was wrong on this one. But in the end, Shams may still be right because it still may end up being J.J. Redick when it's all said and done. All right, we're going to have a busy second hour. Jonah Dillon joins us at 8:05. We're going to talk Tigers football, maybe sneaking in a little Grizzlies. Then we got soccer talk with Lawrence Dockery at 8:25. Michael Cole at 9:05 on the Grizzlies. Plus, we'll continue to read your texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin text lines at 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines / text lines, 901-360-8255. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Ignite your desire at Sissy's Log Cabin with our exclusive Facets of Fire Diamond. Created through the first diamond cutting advancement in over a century, the Facets of Fire Diamond features more brilliance than any other. With its burst of fiery color, this diamond is passion personified. Shop Facets of Fire at sissyslogcabin.com or in store and experience the evolution in diamonds only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous, a legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Summer's heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choate's Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choate's generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choate's and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choate's and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators. Choate's. Let our family serve your family.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis, Sports 56 Traffic.
Good morning. Still a couple of accidents getting some attention out here. It's finally starting to pick up with more volume on 40 West passing Germantown Parkway, headed up towards Sycamore View Road now. 40 East is a little bit heavier, mostly throughout the day as well, on the Hernando de Soto Bridge coming over from West Memphis because of that 55 bridge remaining closed. Weimer's Jewelry at 7525 Highway 64, your full-service family-owned jewelry store here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
To Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Genuine diamonds, baby.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:03 the time. Hour number 2 here on Sports 56 mornings. The Wednesday, June 12th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Check them out at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 68 degrees, on the way up to 85 today. Should be a lot like yesterday, a little bit lower humidity Very nice outside. Partly cloudy skies is the actual forecast. Tonight, 60 for a low with clear skies in the forecast for the metropolitan Memphis area. Second hour of the program brought to you each and every day by our friends at James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jeweler at 4900 Poplar in the heart of East Memphis, right between Mendenhall and St. Nick. You can't miss it. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. They've been providing great jewelry and great service for decades. They started out on Summer Avenue. They've been at the Poplar Avenue location for a long, long while. And they are bringing you, like I said, quality jewelry, quality work, quality people. The Gaddis family, family owned and operated. Father's Day is Sunday. Get something nice for Dad. How about a beautiful watch for Dad? You can find all types of watches at James Gaddis Jewelers. Also, if you're planning on getting engaged this summer, maybe this fall, they are your engagement, your bridal engagement and anniversary jeweler headquarters. They've been serving Memphians and Mid-Southerners, like I said, for decades. So if you're looking for that special engagement ring, wedding ring, personally designed wedding sets, or any type of jewelry, including custom-made jewelry, gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, earrings, plus the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry, it's James Gaddis Jewelers. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick. On the web at gaddisjewelers.com. When you stop by, tell James and the folks you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. Jonah Dillon's going to join us in just a moment to talk some Tigers football. Yesterday, the Phil Steele magazine came out, and I'm not sure if it exactly came out yesterday or not, but the Memphis Tigers that were listed on the Phil Steele's preseason teams were numerous. I wanted to mention this real quick before we bring Jonah on. And by the way, we are efforting, as we do each and every year, to get Phil on the program. He has been very kind to us throughout the years. Chandler Martin, who had this unbelievable year last year for Memphis, came from a small school, had 95 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, first team all AAC. Well, he's been named to the 4th team preseason All-America team, according to Phil Steele. Again, this is Phil Steele's picks. Seth Hannigan, Rock Taylor, Xavier Hill, Sutton Smith as a kick returner, all named to Phil Steele's first team preseason All-AAC team. New running back Mario Anderson, Demir Blankhamsey, Anthony Lanphier, named to the second team. Jonah Gamble, Elijah Herring, the new linebacker from the University of Tennessee, defensive back Greg Rubin, kicker Caden Costa, the new kicker, a former Ole Miss Rebel, and long snapper Colby Cox named to the third team, and defensive back Taj Rael, who's also a newcomer to the team, wide receiver Kobe Drake, friend of the show, named to the 4th team. So a lot of recognition, and understandably so, by Phil Steele. That's one person's opinion, but I'm sure a lot of these preseason magazines, when they come out, it will be very, very similar. Without further ado, he is the Tigers football beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, but also a Grizzlies reporter among many different assignments that he has written about. He is Jonah Dillon. You can follow him on Twitter at the Jonah Dillon, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Jonah, how are you? Thank you for getting up.
Doing well. How about you guys?
Doing fantastic. Not a surprise yesterday that Phil Steele had all these Tigers listed. I think it's going to be, like I said, a recurring theme throughout the summer that Memphis will get a lot of support with their individual players and their team going into the 24 campaign.
Yeah, I think definitely when you look at the AAC, especially a lot of the returning players for Memphis, not surprising, like you said. I think Chandler Martin getting that national recognition, though, is pretty important. And obviously, like we talk about the quarterback, we talk about offense a lot, but Chandler Martin, especially towards the end of last season, kind of became one of Memphis' most important players. And I think certainly going to this season with all the new faces on defense and with the new defensive coordinator and Jordan Hankins, it feels like he might be the most important player on this team because this entire defense is kind of being built around him. And like you said, for someone to come in from an FCS school in East Tennessee State, when Memphis is obviously bringing in transfers from bigger programs, and to have the impact that he had last year was a huge storyline. And then continuing to this season where now we're seeing this kind of recognition, I think he's going to be a guy throughout the season that people are going to just be talking about consistently, because he's also one of those players that stands out just when you watch the game, even if you're not watching super closely. He's the kind of linebacker that just flies around the field. So he's kind of always, when you're watching the game, you're like, who's that number 11 who's always around the ball? He's that kind of player. And I think he's going to continue to get that recognition. So it was definitely interesting to see that. in a national perspective, because it's one thing to be all AAC. We know that there's going to be plenty of players on those teams, but to get that national All-American preseason recognition was definitely a big deal.
Well, you combine him and what he did, here, and then you bring in Elijah Herring, who was a tackling machine at Tennessee. I mean, that's a pretty good 1-2 combination in that linebacking core.
Yeah, and they also it's interesting because they've got those two guys that obviously you'd expect them to be the key guys, but Memphis has brought in a bunch of linebackers this offseason. It's been almost every time you're like, okay, well, now we know who the starters are, and then another linebacker commits. Now, I keep saying this, like Jordan Hankins, he's been pretty consistent. He loves linebackers. He's said throughout the entire offseason, like, I don't know what the scheme is going to look like, but all I can tell you is there's going to be a lot of linebackers. I'm interested to see how many there actually are. Like, I honestly feel like if it was up to him completely, he would play 0-11-0. He would just play linebackers. And so everyone's like, oh, how many, last year, basically, it was Chandler Martin and Jeffrey Canton Arku were like the guys who played consistently. Like, obviously, we think Chandler Martin and Elijah Herring are going to be the two guys, but I'm not sold that there's not going to be other linebackers on the field all the time, and you're not going to convince me that there's can only be 2 or only 3 or only 4, because you look at these guys, like, they're bringing in guys who are proven, like, who have been very successful at other programs, just like obviously Chandler Martin was. Matt Hudson comes from Harvard, Jaden Flaker, like, these guys are big-time players, Javante Mackey from Arkansas State, and some of these guys are going to play. So it's going to be really interesting to see, and that's one of the storylines I'm going to definitely be watching throughout summer and fall practices is what is the scheme actually going to look like, and who's going to be on the field. So, yeah.
Jonah Dillon from the Commercial Appeal joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. With the advent of the transfer portal, with NIL and everything that has changed the game at the collegiate level, the Memphis coaching staff, I think, has done a pretty good job, solid job in being able to recruit and get players they need to become a better all-around program. However, now it seems like they've taken it up a notch to a certain extent with the help of that extra NIL money provided by FedEx. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, I think that's been a huge thing. I think that when you talk to some of these guys, the opportunity with the playoff is definitely a big deal, and especially where Memphis was already positioned going into this season. So it starts with, like, and if you ask Ryan Tofield about it, he'll start with this every time, which is retention. But once Memphis retained guys like Seth Hennigan, Rock Taylor, Chandler Martin, and set themselves up for this season as one of the playoff favorites, that opened these doors in recruiting where now people want to come here because they want to play in the playoff, and this is a place where obviously the expectations are that you could be at that level, this season. And then with the FedEx stuff, it's like now you're competing with power schools. Like, that's just the reality, is now Memphis is competing on that level NIL-wise with power conference programs. And so it gives you a huge leg up over teams in your conference and most teams in the group of 5. And so now you're suddenly in a situation where you can sell people on the playoff and a route to the playoff that's probably more clear than, a lot of teams that are playing in power conference schools, and you're able to offer similar or the same or even more in some cases money. So now Memphis has this huge recruiting advantage, and I think you've seen that start to play out, with retention, first of all, because it's really interesting when you look at all these group of 5 programs. Like, a lot of them just get totally rated throughout the offseason, both in football and in basketball, especially in the AAC with basketball. Look at all these other programs. And Memphis has brought back all these guys, which is really a huge deal, even though it kind of doesn't feel like it should be, because it's like, okay, well, Seth Hennigan was the quarterback last year. He has another year of eligibility. Now he's on the team. And obviously, like old school college football, you would never expect everyone to just leave after the season. But now it's kind of like, actually, the biggest deal this offseason was that all those guys came back, and that's what kind of started this whole thing, where now people want to come be a part of it because they didn't lose everybody, and they do have all these key contributors who are proven competitors who have proven what they can do at this level, and they're already coming back.
Do you expect that at media days that Memphis will be the pick to win the conference?
Yeah, I was kind of, at the beginning of the offseason, I was kind of going back and forth because I feel like Tulane, people are kind of sleeping on them. I think what John Summerall did at Troy was really impressive. So I wouldn't expect there to be like a huge learning curve at Tulane. And, you talk about the transfer portal. They've had a really impressive transfer portal. Like they've brought in guys who are big time recruits, big time competitors in other places. Obviously, we know they lost their quarterback, they lost their coach, they lost a lot of players. They've got the best returning running back in the conference, in Mekhi Hughes. Like that's a team that I think is going to be really good. But I think when you look at Memphis and the guys that have come in now in the transfer portal, especially defensively, they've plugged a lot of holes, I think, in the spring. With Elijah Harry and Kobe Minor, those were positions of need, and now you've got guys who can play at a high level there. And I think Memphis has gotten so much attention, both in the conference and then nationally, like with the FedEx deal. I think that plays a part in it, right? Because not everyone is going to do a super deep dive on every team individually. And so you look at that, okay, well, I see Memphis is always in the news for some transfer thing, and they've got some guy that everyone's talking about. That helps you get picked to win the conference in the preseason. So I think,
I don't know if you've done any research on this. I know this information is not always readily available, and I'm not sure if you're privy to it. But last year, when SMU was playing in its final season in the American before moving on now to the ACC, it was, look how deep their pocket is for NIL. And a big reason financially where they were was a reason why they got into the ACC. Memphis now, with the help of FedEx, looks to be pretty solid. Who else in the American Conference, if you know any information, is in a good position with NIL, relatively speaking?
Yeah, I think UTSA is in a good position. They revamped their entire NIL operation last year, which is kind of how they got Frank Harris to come back last season. And I believe Frank Harris is now involved with the collective actually himself. So kind of an interesting one because he at least when he like retired from football, he immediately said, "I'm going to work with this collective." My understanding is they pretty much created an entirely new collective last season. Like they revamped their entire thing, and part of it was specifically to bring him back last season.
What, you want to spend more time with his grandchildren, Frank Harris?
So you've got a guy, like I said, it's funny because they're like, okay, we're going to get this guy back. And now he's involved with what they're doing. And, they're a program that grew really quickly with what Jeff Traylor has done there. And, they've got they've done pretty well in recruiting. So I think that's when USF is doing pretty well. USF has a lot of money that they're bringing to the program in general, right? They've got a new stadium deal that they're trying to get done. Which could be a huge deal for them if they're able to do it. And so I think those are a couple. But yeah, like you said, SMU obviously was one of the biggest ones. And then Tulane, we know that they have been really successful football-wise over the last couple of years. And when you have that kind of success, that drives interest both from obviously recruits, but from donors too, because they're like, okay, we're seeing what you're doing. If we help you out a little bit, you're going to be able to continue this. And that program has had a track record over the past couple of years. So those are the ones that I think, and it's no surprise, right, that those are the programs that are being picked to finish at the top of the conference because that's just kind of how it works. And you got to also quickly mention Charlotte because of what Biff Cody is doing with his own money, right? So yeah, you don't know what the level is that they're going to go to, but there is money being injected into that program. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out too.
With the offense this year, obviously Seth Hennigan, we know about Seth Hennigan. Who do you think is the next most important player on offense?
I'd go with Mario Anderson. I just think people, obviously people were really excited about him coming in as the leading rusher from South Carolina last year, but he's got a pretty high level to live up to it with what Blake Watson did last year. Blake Watson rushed for over 1,000 yards. He was really productive. Really consistent, besides those goal line fumbles, which was one of the weirdest storylines of last season. He had 3 fumbles inside the 5-yard line, which is just, kind of a random thing, but it happened 3 times. So I don't know what to make of it. And Ryan Silverfield was very unhappy with it the last time when it happened against Charlotte. But besides that, he was really consistent throughout the season. He was a big piece of the passing game. And so Mario Anderson has a lot to live up to because, going into last season, we were talking about who's going to be the leading rusher. Sutton Smith, is time for him. Blake Watson, we know that he was really productive at Old Dominion, but what is he going to do at this level? And he was really consistent. He was great throughout the season. And so Mario Anderson has to live up to that first. And obviously people are excited with his pedigree and where he's coming from and his ability and what he looks like as a running back. But I think to have that consistency in the running game is gonna be super important to kind of unlock all this stuff that we're talking about, the passing game, and with Seth Hennigan and Rock Taylor obviously being the two key pieces there.
Is there a weakness on this team?
I would have said the secondary. I mean, I think there's still questions. Like, I think Kobe Minor is going to be a really important piece, and people are really excited. If you need some juice now, go watch the tape of him guarding Marvin Harrison Jr. last year when Indiana played Ohio State. But I think that that's the part of the field where I think that there's still things to play out in terms of who's going to be on the field at what time, because a lot of guys are gone from last season, and there's still that was just a place where, a lot of these games against the better teams, it was kind of just getting picked apart. I mean, I think about Missouri and SMU, it looked like the field was just kind of wide open, consistently 10, 15-yard gains in the passing game, and there were really no answers there defensively. So I think that's the thing that needs to be fixed. And I would say the offensive line, it doesn't look like a weakness now, but when you have so many new guys coming in, it might take some time to kind of get that chemistry worked out, because we're looking at a couple of the same players. We're looking at different starters in every single position, most likely, with guys moving around and then obviously transfers coming in. So I think there's something to be sorted out there. But yeah, I would look at the defensive side of the ball, and specifically I would look at the secondary.
Some of the prognostications I've seen has Boise State being the Group of 5 representative, and they're a good football team. Memphis, having played them recently, and we'll play them again here in the not-too-distant future. But it's tough to ask a question when you don't have the knowledge of it. You don't know what those people were looking at who picked them to be that representative. But I wonder if they look at Memphis and they say, okay, we know they're going to be really, really good. We know they play a tough non-conference opponent on the road in Florida State. But even in conference, as you just talked about, Tulane, UTSA, throw in South Florida, don't count them out. They were good last year. I think they're only going to get better. All three of those games are on the road. I'm thinking that maybe that's the area that people, if they're picking Boise State, is doubting Memphis, that they can go on the road and win all three of those games. I know they don't necessarily have to, but it could put them in a hole and behind Boise State if there is a blemish or two.
Yeah, I think, obviously those are expected to be the three other best teams in the conference, and Memphis has to go play them all on the road, so that's not going to be easy. I think when you look at Boise State, I'm definitely, I've obviously been following it a little bit, and I'll continue to follow it because it feels like the Group of 5 is going to be, it's going to be even more important this season to just follow the entire Group of 5 to see who the best teams are. And I understand the Boise State stuff. Like, we talk about the players that are coming back for Memphis, and it's a huge deal. But Boise State brought back Ashton Jeanty, who's their running back, who's the best. If you were ranking players in the Group of 5, he's the best player. Like, I think pretty clearly right now with what he did last season. And they brought in Malachi Nelson, who was the number 1 quarterback recruit in the country last year. And so you've got to respect that team. And obviously we got to see them play last year, but that's a totally different team now than the one that came to Memphis last year. Mm-hmm. New coach, new quarterback, completely new players, and they brought back a lot of the guys that helped them. And they also just turned their season around completely after that Memphis game. They ended up winning most of the games the rest of the season, winning the Mountain West Championship. And the thing is, the Mountain West, Memphis has to play those teams on the road, but if you look at these two conferences, I think the Mountain West probably is deeper. And which could be a good thing for Memphis, because it might mean that Boise State gets beat up by some of these teams, and not only that, but they all beat each other up, and you end up with a champion that has 2 or 3 losses. That's what happened last year in the Mountain West. And then the other thing you got to keep in mind is Boise State goes to play at Oregon early in the season too, so they have a similar kind of schedule to Memphis in that that's an opportunity for them to get a huge win, but it's not going to hurt them necessarily if they don't go to Oregon and beat them. Yeah. So yeah, I think it makes sense. I think if you're a Memphis fan, you should follow what's going on there, because it could be really important going throughout the season.
All right, final thing for you real quick. Antoine Hill Jr. was in last weekend. You've reported on him. You also tweeted out that you believe he's going to make that decision in July. So I'm assuming you've spoken to him. What can you tell us about the visit, if anything, and what do you think the chances are that they can land this 4-star quarterback?
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely something that's been kind of gathering steam over the past couple of months. I've talked to some people kind of in his orbit, and it feels like it's in a good spot right now with Memphis. The thing with recruiting, especially when you're looking at something like this, is that it's hard, even if it's like, okay, someone is leading at this point or someone is in this position. It's just really hard to say because things change so quickly. And the one thing that I would say is to watch out for decommitments, because you're looking at, when you're talking about a quarterback with recruiting, it really comes down to opportunity. And you look at a lot of programs that are after him, if they've already taken a recruit for next year and what their quarterback situation is kind of in a broader sense, that's going to be a huge part in it. And so one of the reasons that Memphis is in such a good position is because the quarterback situation is Seth Hennigan is going to be gone after this season, and they haven't taken a recruit for next year, a 2025 recruit. So if it continues like that and all these other programs continue with who they have committed and what their situations are, then I think Memphis is in a really good spot, because you look at Florida, which is the other school that kind of is after him the most. They brought in the number one quarterback last year, and they've already got a recruit for 2026. So if he's going to go there, it's likely he's going to be behind DJ Lagway, who came in, who's going to be a freshman this year. And the opportunity isn't as clear. Now, obviously, he's going to, with his pedigree, he's going to be fine. I was told, he's happy to go somewhere and compete for a spot. He's not going to shy away from that. But if it continues like this and there's no decommitments and Memphis continues to have this kind of opening, then I think that they're in a really good spot. And then you look at it in a broader sense, what would it mean for Memphis? It's a huge deal, potentially. But it's just hard to say, even if, as we talk right now, I feel like they're in a pretty good spot with him. That could change so quickly. And by the time he makes his commitment, which is expected next month, everything could be different. And then you got to also, at the caveat, there's commitments, there's decommitments. So just because somebody commits, it doesn't mean that they're going to go. You don't sign until December. And so we're going to have to keep watching it, throughout the entire season, whether or not he ends up committing to Memphis next month.
Plus, you got Moneybag Yo and some other rappers on the case, man, trying to get Antoine Hill to come to Memphis. So you want to follow those guys to get the latest information, but also follow Jonah as well at the Jonah Dillon on X. Tigers football beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, Grizzlies reporter, and so much more. Jonah, as always, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Take care, guys.
You too. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're talking soccer with Lawrence Dockery. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 at 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Looking for a high-efficiency planting solution? The Case IH 2150 Early Riser Planter combines the industry's most accurate planter technologies with a rugged row unit for fast and uniform emergence. The Case IH 2150 Early Riser operates at your speed and adapts to unique field conditions so that you can maximize your yield potential. Stop in or call Mid-South Ag Equipment at 662-890-3141 to learn more. That's Mid-South Ag, your Case IH Equipment headquarters.
We're so close to crowning an NBA champ, and with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code HERD, H-E-R-D. That's code HERD for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.co/bball for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
You Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the Collierville Square has 25% off all men's Western boots on their boot wall. Now through Saturday for the special man in your life. Hewlett & Dunn has the Mid-South's largest inventory of boots and also has a huge selection of shirts, shorts, jeans, hats, and belts for dad as well. Hewlett & Dunn has your best price on boots for Father's Day with 25% off through Saturday. Hewlett & Dunn on the Collierville Square. Every man needs Hewlett & Dunn.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still a lot of volume over here on 240 East and westbound between Walnut Grove and Poplar. It's gotten even heavier I-40 East across the Hernando de Soto Bridge because of the 55 bridge that remains closed. This could be the pattern throughout the day. You're going to see more traffic, of course, on the 40 bridge. Traffic's picked up even more in the last few minutes. 40 westbound approaching Sycamore View Road. Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. Go by and see them today. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:30 the time. Lawrence Dockery joins us in a moment. Then at 9:05, DeMichael Cole on the Grizzlies. 2 weeks from tomorrow, the NBA draft will begin. It'll be a 2-day event now, so Thursday and Friday, but a couple of weeks. So just 2 more weeks to speculate and do all this conversation about what the Grizzlies may or may not do. And then reality will set in. We'll figure out what they'll do by them telling us what they're doing. But now we want to talk some soccer. It's a busy week. Memphis 901 FC has 2 home games, including one tonight. And the United States soccer team also in action. The men are in action as they're playing down in the Copa America. We want to talk to Lawrence about the Olympics and all that good stuff. He is our soccer insider. He writes for Soccer Talk. He's the host of the 901 Soccer podcast on Bluff City Media. He's Lawrence Dockery. You can follow him on Twitter at LDoc93. Joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Lawrence, how are you?
I'm doing good, Greg. How about you guys?
Doing fantastic. Busy time, so it's always great to have you to talk about a number of things. First of all, 901 FC, I know they had a draw last weekend. They got Rhode Island tonight. They got New Mexico United on Saturday. Again, these are home games at AutoZone Park. Where do things stand right now with the team as far as, and where I guess we're maybe a little past the halfway mark or somewhere around that time of the year for the team? Where are they in the standings, and how are they playing right now?
So they are currently sitting in 8th place in the Western Conference. That's the last playoff spot. The top 8 teams in each conference make the playoffs. As far as how they're playing pretty well. The West is very tight right now. I think there's something crazy like 3 points separating third. So on a game-to-game basis, you could be out of the playoffs or you could be hosting a playoff game. So it all just kind of depends on how it all falls. But they're playing pretty well right now. They've played pretty well most of the season. To be quite frank, they had a rough stretch where they lost 5 straight games, but after that they went on a 5-game unbeaten run with 4 wins and a draw. That came to an end against San Antonio, but then they got a draw against Colorado Springs this last Saturday, and coming into that game, Colorado Springs was the hottest team in the league. They had won 5 straight games, and so to come from behind the way they did, they gave up an early goal off a corner kick and battled back and tied it up, and then had the lion's share of the chances the rest of the game, and could very easily have won that game, except for the fact that the Colorado Springs goalkeeper just happened to be on one that night. It also didn't help 901 see that goalkeeper was about 6'8" and was able to use just every inch of his frame to tip a couple of very powerful shots out for corner kicks. But they're playing pretty well right now. They're unbeaten in 6 of their last 7 games, and they've got 2 at home this week against Rhode Island tonight and New Mexico on Saturday.
Those 2 opponents, Rhode Island and New Mexico, how are they?
So Rhode Island is an expansion team. This is their first season in the league. It's actually Rhode Island's existence is part of the reason that 901 got moved from the Eastern Conference to the Western Conference this year. The 2 new teams are North Carolina and Rhode Island. So I'm sure Grizzlies fans can relate to what 901 fans are having to go through this year with a couple of very late kickoff times out on the West Coast. But so Rhode Island they're in 11th place out of 12 teams in the Eastern Conference, which is not unexpected as an expansion team. Of course, Memphis 901 was an expansion team back in 2019, and they struggled a little bit, but they stayed alive in the playoff race that year, probably until the last month of the season, and then just ran out of gas. But Rhode Island isn't nearly as bad as their place in the standings would suggest. They've just they haven't won a lot. They've only won 1 game, but they haven't lost a whole lot either. They do have a lot of draws. They've got 8 draws on the season this year, and they have found a variety of ways to do it, be it everybody's least favorite 0-0, or giving up a goal in the last minute of the game, or scoring a goal in the last minute of the game. So they're a little bit all over the map, and I would expect if 901 FC does what they're supposed to do and what they can do, they should win tonight. Saturday against New Mexico. New Mexico is one of the better teams in the Western Conference. They're also one of the few USL Championship teams still alive in the U.S. Open Cup. They have knocked off an MLS team. They beat Real Salt Lake in the last round, I believe. And I don't remember. I think they get to play either LAFC or the Seattle Sounders in their next U.S. Open Cup game. So that's going to be fun. But that's a quality outfit. They're one of the best supported teams in the league. 901 went out there for the final regular season game last year and got popped fairly substantially.
Yeah, we talked about that. I remember that.
Yeah, it ended up being, I think, 4-1 maybe. So I'm sure the guys that were on this team last year that are still there this year are going to remember that and want to make sure that they take care of business and put things right on home turf.
All right, without going over the entire team here, give us a couple of guys who are playing really, really well that maybe fans don't realize. And then also, is Knight Pickering still getting action? I mean, I have not seen his name as far as a goal scorer in a while. I know he started the season off very well. So where is he as far as the lineups are concerned?
Yeah, I don't believe he played on Saturday against Colorado Springs. I think he might just be having a little bit of a rough go of it at the moment. He hasn't scored a league goal, I don't think, since that season opener against Las Vegas. He did get a pair of goals in the Open Cup against Miami United. But one of the guys who's playing really well is Marlon Santos. He is up for USL Player of the Month for the month of May. After the home game against Pittsburgh, Stephen Glass said that if somebody can find him a player who had a better month of May than Marlon, he'd be very surprised. Mm-hmm. You've also got, in May, if it wasn't Marlon Santos had like 5 goals and 5 assists in the month of May. But if it wasn't him, it was Bruno Lapa, who got several goals and several assists as well. And then a third of the Brazilian contingent is Luis Fernando. He had a couple of goals in the last few games, and if it's not Marlon and it's not Bruno, it's going to be Luis Fernando. Those 3 guys are playing very well right now.
So on the Team USA side,
oh Lord,
what happened in the 5-1 loss?
Oh, there's a number of things that I could say that you're not allowed to say on the radio. Primarily, our coach Greg Berhalter is a terrorist, and should probably be on trial in The Hague for his crimes against soccer. One of the things that frustrates so many U.S. fans is we have a group of players that are perhaps more talented than any other group of players that we've ever had in this country's soccer history. You've got guys playing at a variety of the biggest clubs in Europe, in Italy, in Germany, in England, and so on. And so to come out there and just get waxed by Colombia, I liken it the way that Greg Berhalter wants these guys to play. It's very rigid. It's very much my way or the highway. It almost reminds me of, in the movie Hoosiers, the very first game where Gene Hackman's the coach and he says, we got to pass this number of times before allowed to shoot the basketball, and it just looks awful and the guys are very frustrated and don't know what they're doing. That's kind of what we have here, especially when you contrast it against a South American opposition where they're free-flowing, they're attacking, they're out there having fun, and you just watch the U.S. and go, these guys aren't having fun. These guys aren't allowed to try stuff. These guys have to, it's all about how many little insignificant passes can you complete, and then, you just don't score. And then you also have just a situation where, as much as I like to blame the coach, at some point U.S. players have to actually perform and take a little bit of ownership of this.
Mm-hmm.
It really pissed me off and a lot of other people off after the game when Greg Berhalter's whole post game was, it was all the players' fault. We gave them a great game plan. Let me know if Tiger basketball fans are familiar with this line. We gave them a great game plan and they just didn't execute it. That was very frustrating. Greg Berhalter even said the players came out and disrespected. They didn't respect the game of soccer this weekend, and that was asinine. Because here's the thing with Greg Berhalter: his record against CONCACAF teams, that's basically our confederation, that's our conference, that's North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. He's an elite coach against crap teams: 35 wins, 8 losses, 4 draws. Against good teams, he stinks. He is against South American teams. He's got 1 win, 2 losses, and 3 draws. He hasn't beaten a South American team since 2019 in his 3rd game in charge of the team. Against European teams, he's got 2 wins, 4 losses, and 3 draws. He hasn't beaten a European team since December of 2021.
So why have they ousted him?
They love him. They love him.
They love losing?
It's with U.S. soccer, it's not about winning and losing. It's about how little can you pay the coach and how much can you make off a ticket rip. It's like I feel like I've made this comparison before. It's the way that Jerry Jones just loved Jason Garrett for so many years before it just became entirely untenable. Because every so often he would sneak in there with like a 12-win season and then flame out in the first round of the playoffs like the Cowboys always do. Mm-hmm. That's Greg Berhalter. He's going to beat up on the bad teams, and then you put him up against a real team, and it's awful.
All right.
His record against top 20 teams, if you don't include beating the worst Mexican generation since the 1970s, if you take out the Mexico games, he's got 1 win, 6 losses, and 7 draws against teams ranked in the top 20 in the world.
So the chances that the United States will play well in the Copa America is not good. And they got a friendly tonight against Brazil. We'll see how friendly Brazil is.
Yeah, tonight is going to be a bloodletting. Brazil's probably not going to be happy after. So Brazil played Mexico this weekend, and like I said, Mexico is the worst they've been in several generations. They actually played that game at Kyle Field in College Station and got 85,000 people there for it.
Jeez.
But Brazil conceded 2 goals to Mexico, and it should have finished at a draw, but they got lucky to win it at the end. So tonight is going to be a bloodletting for sure. It's not going to be fun. There's going to be more. It's already been confirmed that there's going to be over 50,000 Brazilian fans at the game in Orlando. So here's how this. I write this down, and we can revisit it in end of July, early August. The U.S. has made the semifinals at the Copa America twice in their last 3 appearances, 1995 and 2016. This Copa America, you can set this in stone. They are going to have an ugly, close win against Bolivia to open the tournament. They are going to have an ugly, close win versus Panama. They are going to comprehensively lose to Uruguay. And then in the quarterfinals, they will have a laughable loss to either Brazil or Colombia. and U.S. Soccer will somehow, some way try to spin that as a huge step forward for the team.
Lawrence Dockery is joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line.
All right, let's talk about better things. Tell me about this 16-year-old girl on the women's team. Will she be on the Olympic team?
I would think so. I know
Her
exactly
name is
who you're
Caitlin
talking
Clark.
about. It is. As far as her being on the Olympic team, she's somebody. It's Lily Johannes is her name, and she plays in the Netherlands, I believe, and she's very good in the U.S. Women's last window in June. She got at least one goal against South Korea, I believe. She's probably the next wunderkind, so to speak. As far as her being on the Olympic team, I'm not 100% sure. The U.S. Women's team does have a new coach who just managed her first pair of games, Emma Hayes, who was a very successful club manager, both in the U.S. and in England. So as far as, I think we might see a little bit better performances than we saw out of the U.S. Women's team at the Women's World Cup last year. But I think it might just be a tad too early to predict, other than several of the biggest names, who's going to be on that Olympic roster.
And the men didn't qualify, right?
No, they did.
They did.
This is the first time since 2008 in Beijing that both U.S. men and U.S. women have qualified for the Olympics. The caveat for the men is that on the men's side in the Olympics, it's a U23 event. But you do get 3 overage players to tag along. The U.S. men's Olympic team just had a friendly last night in Kansas City and got smashed 2-0 by Japan.
Okay, so it's a U23.
Correct.
So the dudes you're seeing tonight in the Copa and the friendly against Brazil, most of them are not on that team because you can only have, like you said, 3 over 23.
Yes, that is one of the discussions going on with the national teams right now is which guys are we going to see play in the Copa America, which starts next week, and then who are we going to see go to the Olympics? They have to get down to 26 players for the Copa America, and I think they're at 27 or 28 right now, so we're going to see 1 or 2 people probably cut. But, there's the opportunity for anybody who gets cut to then turn around and play in the Olympics in Paris next month.
He is our soccer insider. He writes for World Soccer Talk. He's the host of the 901 Soccer Podcast on Bluff City Media. He'll have you covered with 901 FC and their game tonight and Saturday. He's Lawrence Dockery. Follow him on Twitter at LDoc93. Lawrence, as always, thank you so much. Great info.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Take care. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. Dine in, carry out, no contact delivery. Have any of the food services, Uber Eats or whatever the case may be. Bring it to you. Bring it to your home. Bring it to your work. Enjoy that delicious barbecue, that slow smoke barbecue. They've been cooking up for 4 decades, and they've been catering for that long as well. They could start you out as low as $8.99 per person, no matter how small, how large that it may be, your group, whatever the case is, they can cater it for you. They're located at Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. If you have an event coming up, a birthday party, a little celebration, anniversary, family reunion, you can reserve their private party room at either the Cordova or the Olive Branch locations. Just contact them for more information. It's Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
This is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
They say health is wealth, and I could not agree more. That's why if you or somebody in your life is living with everyday aches and pains, I want to tell you about Relief Factor. And I'm telling you, I can feel the difference. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. Naturally. Now that's a big deal. Developed by doctors. Relief Factor's unique formula of ingredients all work together to help support your body's response to inflammation. Instead of masking pain for a couple of hours, Relief Factor actually helps reduce or even eliminate your pain for good. Whether it's neck, back, joint, or muscle pain, if you're looking to feel better, live better, give Relief Factor a try. In 3 weeks, you will know if it's working because you'll feel it. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Some people just know the more you protect, the more you save with Allstate. Because they know insurance matters. Like if you protect your home and auto, Allstate can save you up to 25%. So it's like losing money if you don't bundle. Save more when you protect more. Bundle home and auto with Allstate today.
Bundled savings vary by state and are not available in every state. Saving up to 25% is the countrywide average of the maximum available savings off the home policy. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
For Memphis football. 3, 2, 1, that's your winner!
With a cast of returning stars ready for the big stage. The momentum for Memphis football is on the rise.
Breaking into the end zone. Tiger touchdown. He's got he denied.
It's time to practice. So purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGo.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Well, breaking news. NBA legend, Hall of Famer, and former Memphis Grizzlies president of basketball operations, Jerry West, has passed away at the age of 86. Breaking on ESPN. I'm reading that right now. Just seeing it for the very first time. Wow.
One of the greats, from the player to executive. He was one of the best in both roles.
A man who came to Memphis. Nobody thought in their right mind that would ever happen. After all those years as an executive and an integral part of the Lakers, of course, as a player, one of the greatest players to ever play the game. His son, Johnny, played with Marc Gasol at Lausanne here in Memphis. I remember when I had a chance to sit down and interview Jerry for the first time. He was a matter-of-fact guy. This was when I was with ABC 24 and UPN 30, now CW 30. And we went to his office, and very stern. I mean, I want to say cordial, but, he was just, I have to do these interviews. I think that's what I got the feeling that, I'm going to sit down and talk to all these guys. But he gave me his time, and he gave others his time as well. I've heard a lot of stories about Jerry and the way they ran the show here, and interesting stories, funny stories. But you probably saw the L.A. Lakers Showtime documentary that had the actor just playing a bizarro Jerry West, like out of control Jerry West. I'm sure it was somewhere in the middle. He certainly was a very high-strung guy, but all he wanted to do was win. And the fact, again, that he came to Memphis. How many years did he end up staying here in Memphis? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't remember.
Again, this stuff we'll have for you, but this is just happening right now. And remember, the silhouette of West used for the current NBA logo. There's been people saying that they would like that changed to maybe LeBron's or Jordan, whatever the case may be. Of course, Jordan's silhouette is used for Nike. I just happened to watch that movie again last night that I saw in the theaters the first time it came out, Air, about Air Jordan. But Jerry West was, back in his day, I mean, there was not too many that were as good as him. And coming to Memphis, he played a major part in the early years of Memphis. He was a 3-time All-American at West Virginia, 14-time All-Star selection in 14 NBA seasons with the Lakers, 2-time NBA Executive of the Year, and one of only 5 players in NBA history to average 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists for a career. Sad news.
He was here in Memphis from 2002 to 2007.
The early part of the team relocating from Vancouver to be able for Michael Heisley to go out and get Jerry West to come to Memphis was a major coup. It didn't work out like everybody had hoped, and I know that was taxing on him.
Yeah, I mean, well, just the idea, yes, that they were able to get him, it kind of validated the Grizzlies almost as an NBA franchise. They had been through so many terrible years in Vancouver, everything else, but to be able to go get a guy like Jerry West, and certainly that you would have, there was more expectation, but he did, they had the playoff years, the hiring of Hubie Brown, all of that stuff. I mean, he won one of the Executive of the Year awards here in Memphis. Like, it wasn't like they didn't do anything. He got got him into the playoffs for the first time, all of that stuff, and kind of got them on the map. They were just never able to get any playoff wins, any of that stuff. But just having that name at the top of the as running your team certainly just added validity, kind of put you on the map as an NBA franchise at a time when the Grizzlies certainly needed that. So it's, I mean, on the player, he's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA Finals. Like, dude is...
Didn't he win an NBA Finals MVP on a losing team? Or am I wrong about that?
I think he did. Win his Finals MVP when they lost, because he only won the one title, although they were there a lot. But I think he won his MVP award in the Finals a different year, other than the one that they won. So, that is one of the, talk about legends of the game. That is a true legend. One of the biggest names in NBA history, right there.
Adrian Wojnarowski on X. Jerry West lived a profound basketball and American life, iconic as a player, executive, and looming figure in the history of the game. He was an MVP, a champion, a gold medalist, a dynasty builder, and literally the league's logo. His loss leaves a massive void. In just the last 2 weeks, Bill Walton and Jerry West, 2 huge names, synonymous with the game of basketball at any level, anywhere in the world. Really sad. All right, we'll take a break.
Yeah, Jerry, there are some interesting stories about Jerry.
Oh, there are a lot of stories.
That dude, he was he would come unhinged. It was about, he did not like losses. He did not like, I mean, it just,
not like losing.
when things didn't go his way, He was not a happy camper.
Well, we will certainly be efforting here over the next few days to bring in some of those people from the past. If they would love to talk about them, we would love to have them on the air, talk about them, or talk about Jerry, because there are those stories. Some that can be told, some that can't be told. But that is an absolute legend. Again, breaking news, if you're just tuning in. Jerry West, the logo, the former Memphis executive, dynasty builder with the Lakers, has passed away at the age of 86. When we come back, we're scheduled to be joined by DeMichael Cole. And, this is something that certainly is a story I'm sure he's going to be writing about as well. So hopefully he will be joining us, and then we'll continue to talk about this breaking news. So that will open up hour 3. DeMichael Cole, Grizzlies Talk, and talk about the loss of Jerry West. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
With Wendy's new $3 English muffin deal, you can get your choice of a sausage or bacon, egg, and cheese English muffin with small seasoned potatoes.
And with all that for just $3, it really is a proper breakfast, wouldn't you say? Huh? With a light and fluffy toasted English muffin and crispy seasoned potatoes. Go on, Catherine, give it a go.
Okay. Jolly good morning.
Ah, close love. Grab a proper breakfast with Wendy's new $3 English muffin deal for a limited time.
U.S. price participation may vary. Select request English muffin deal. Discount. Not public product. Part of comparable. See all regular price. Prices are airlines. Get Hawaii.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Summer's heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choate's Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choate's generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choate's and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choate's and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. Choate's, let our family serve your family.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Belting. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. The police are still trying to sort out a couple of earlier accidents now. It remains with some volume over here on 240 east and westbound around Walnut Grove Popular as it continues to get a little bit busier coming inbound 385 Billmore Parkway, coming past Riverdale all the way up to 240 east. A little bit heavier, of course, coming across the Hernando de Soto Bridge over from West Memphis because of the 55 bridge remaining closed for at least another 10 more days. Weimer's Jewelry right here in Memphis specializes in bridal ring purchases, and they have since 1984. Shop local, save a ton of money at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Oh,
Welcome back, everyone. 9:04 the time, hour number 3 here on Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently, it is 72 degrees outside. The weather is beautiful. We'll get up to 85 today with mostly sunshine, a little bit of clouds mixed in. Then tonight, 61 for a low with clear skies. Hour number 3 of the program brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. They specialize in flooring and carpeting. And now they have opened up their new facility in Horn Lake, Mississippi at 2356 Goodman Road. So they've moved from their warehouse in Hernando, Mississippi. So Horn Lake, Mississippi. Also, they're in Cleveland, Mississippi, in Little Rock, Arkansas. If it's variety you're looking for, you need to head over to Jenkins Floors and More. SPC and WPC vinyls, which are scratch-resistant, waterproof, top-of-the-line, ceramic and porcelain tiles, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms, and plantation shutters and blinds as well. Family-owned and operated. They sell at wholesale, skipping the middleman, saving you lots of money for both residential and commercial use. So homeowners, contractors, do yourself a favor. See what Jenkins Floors and More has to offer. Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins started this business 8 years ago in their garage, and because of quality of work that they do, the attention to detail, their pricing, they have earned the reputation of being one of the top flooring companies in the area. They will come to you, give you a free estimate, show you all types of samples. Just give them a call, 662-469-9350, and if you go with Jenkins, an unheard of 2-week turnaround to get the job done and get everything installed. Jenkins Floors and More. Again, 662-469-9350, or visit them in their new facility in Horn Lake, 2356 Goodman Road. The big news just broke at the end of hour number 2, the passing of Jerry West, one of the icons of sports. Of course, the logo, his silhouette, has been used as the NBA logo for decades and decades. Jerry West, the Hall of Famer, and then took those basketball talents and that knowledge into the front office, where he became a 2-time Executive of the Year, one of the great executives, one of the great team builders as far as putting together competitive teams in the NBA, a guy who would take nothing less than winning, and obviously frustration a bit in Memphis as he came to try to get everything together with the young Grizzlies who had just moved from Vancouver. I guess the prior year, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the early general managers of the Grizzlies and presidents of the Grizzlies when they moved from Vancouver. So 5 years or so in Memphis. A lot of fans got to know Jerry West, although Jerry, not a real gregarious personality, not a real, his inner circle, yes, but as far as being out there, in the public eye, he kind of shied away from that a bit. But he was friendly when you had a chance to talk to him, and a lot of people got a chance to say hello to him and meet him over the years in Memphis. But this is certainly sad news. Look, I know he lived an incredible life, and he was 86 years of age, but anytime you hear the news of an icon passing away, it always hits you. It hits you hard. I mean, we had Bill Walton again in the last 2 weeks. Another NBA legend, Chet Walker, another Hall of Famer, passed away over the weekend, and he was age 84. So a lot of these guys who, my childhood, I mean, when I was really young, they became big names in sports. Passing away is certainly startling to me as well. But, yeah, sad news. And if you'd like to share a story, if you have a story or want to comment on it, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. You can call in or text in. DeMichael Cole is expected to join us, but he has to write the story now about Jerry West for the Commercial Appeal. And when he's finished with that, hopefully we'll be able to get him on the program.
When you look at the Grizzlies, and again, they weren't able to win any playoff games in his time here, but really when you look at the way that they turned around just as a franchise under him, it actually is pretty incredible. I mean, they had never won more than 23 games in a season. And then they win in his first year 28, and then they go 50, 45, 49, and go to the playoffs for 3 straight years. Like they were one of, if not the laughing stock of the NBA at that point. And you never won more than 23 games in a season. And then 2 years later, you start a run of 3 straight playoff years with a 50-win season. That's pretty darn good. And again, they never were able to take that next step and kind of, win a playoff game, let alone playoff series, all that stuff. But that is still a pretty amazing turnaround that he did here. And obviously the hiring of Hubie Brown, everybody was like, what in the world is happening
That's
here?
Exactly right.
That's when people thought, like, okay, Jerry West has lost his mind. Like this point, Jerry West has lost his mind. He's hiring Hubie Brown. And Hubie, of course, that unbelievable season and him winning Coach of the Year, Jerry Executive of the Year, everything else that happened at that time. But yeah, you wonder, if they hadn't brought in Jerry, who knows what those years go, but I mean, what the trajectory of this franchise would have been without Jerry West ever coming here.
Well, first of all, the losing ate at him. So even though it was a great turnaround in regular season wins, it's all about the playoffs for Jerry West, as it is for most people that are involved in basketball as heavily as Jerry West has been throughout his entire career and his entire life. So that started to eat at him. And then he got to the point where maybe he just said, it's not going to work, although we did turn around some things. I need to win, and I need to win big, and it happened, obviously, with the Lakers. But, yes, when he hired Hubie Brown, we're second-guessing the logo. We're second-guessing Jerry West. Oh, my gosh, you hired this old guy who, by the way, still has all his marbles, still is an incredible analyst, still going strong in his age on television. But we had our opinion, and we were entitled to it, and we were very naive. And I'm saying we, media in Memphis, Hubie Brown, and then all he did was lead the team to 50 wins, as you said, win the Coach of the Year. They made very strong moves as far as the draft is concerned and acquisitions. And like you said, they went from a joke of an expansion franchise, and it's understandable. They were an expansion franchise in Vancouver, but they had been there a number of years and never got it going. And so, yes, they were one of the weakest franchises, and that's why Michael Heisley was able to do what he did and move them out of there to Memphis, which, again, is still one of the, I don't know, still all these years later, I'm still like starstruck and startled and tongue-tied from Memphis able to get an NBA franchise, to get a Big Four sports team, and do so, even though it was before the age of social media, do so without anybody knowing it. And then they got Jerry West without anybody knowing it. So it hits hard here in Memphis, and it hits hard in Los Angeles and in West Virginia, but really it hits hard all over the basketball world, the community, not only in this country, but all around the world. Because here's a guy who had his hands in a lot of things, from Olympic gold, to being a great, great player, one of the great players of all times, to being a tremendous executive.
I think my favorite Jerry West moment, just because it always like you could tell Jerry West did not hide the way he felt very well. Like I've spent from stories I've heard of people in the offices over there and things like that. Now he certainly didn't. He had no problem yelling at people or whatever over anything. But I'll never forget the Hakeem Warwick draft pick and Jerry West after they made that pick coming down to meet with the media, and he had like tears in his eyes. Like you could tell he was not happy. Like that, and he sat up there and him trying to convince everybody that Hakeem Warwick was the guy they wanted and the guy they liked, everything else. And it was like, Jerry, come on, man. Like, no, like this one, you can't fool us, dude. You're literally like crying that you didn't get, because I believe it was Gerald Green was the guy they wanted in that one, and he was picked the pick before them. But I'll never forget that look on his face, and he's up there talking about just raving about Hakeem Warwick. Like, dude, now come on, you didn't want Hakeem Warwick, you got stuck with Hakeem Warwick. That's it. Bottom line, but that's what it was. Like he had no problem. Like
he wore his emotions on his
emotions were going to show through it as much.
Yes,
I don't care if he tried to hide them. And he didn't try to hide him a whole lot. But even if he tried to hide him, you were going to know what Jerry West was feeling like.
He also traded away Shane Battier, who was so popular, but he acquired Rudy Gay. And Rudy Gay, that was the move. I mean, that was the right move. And Rudy put together some great years for Memphis. It just didn't work out the way they had hoped. But that was a move that was not a popular move. Anytime you trade away a player that's beloved, like Battier was, he made some hard decisions. But that comes with the territory. He accepted that. That's what he loved to do. He loved to put together a basketball team. He liked it a lot more than, trying to coach.
Texter on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line says, if your listeners haven't seen it, they should go watch Jerry's interview with NBA on TNT after Kobe's death. He seemed like a very genuine, nice guy. R.I.P. to the logo. He brought the Grizzlies back to, or brought them to, relevance.
Yeah.
No, yeah, again, again, just when they hired him, it just gave them validity. Because, again, they were a joke of a franchise at that point. Like, they had done literally nothing whatsoever in their entire existence. And now all of a sudden it was like, how in the hell do you hire Jerry West? How does Jerry West leave the Lakers to go to this franchise of all places?
I've been in Memphis for just about 30 years, almost 30 years, covering sports. And there are some moments that were just stunning, startling. Not too many of them. I mean, some were surprising and some were, oh, wow, but that were just startling. One was, we got an NBA team? What? The Vancouver Grizzlies are moving to Memphis? That was crazy, covering that and just finding that out. One was, of course, the tragedy of Lorenzen Wright being killed. But, man, Jerry West becoming the guy running the Grizzlies? Jerry West, the logo is coming to Memphis? That was one of those pinch me moments for me. Now, I broke a couple stories, so I knew about, Tyson Lewis, John Calipari. I knew that. I already knew that stuff because I'm breaking the stories. But the news that I didn't know, off the top of my head, there's some other things as well. But those three things, one certainly incredibly tragic, the other two things, a positive, one being Jerry West.
Yeah, it's, unfortunately, a lot of the ties to that era of Grizzlies basketball are no longer with us. Obviously, Michael Heisley, Jerry now, Tony Barone Sr.
Right.
I mean, we've lost a lot of the connections. Like as you said, Hubie Brown still going strong as ever as an analyst, and amazing how great he continues to be at his age. But yeah, some of the ties to that first playoff run of the 3 straight years are no longer with us.
He got here What year now?
2002.
2002. And the team came in 2001?
Yes.
Okay. So when he got here, who was the previous president of basketball operations? Who did he replace?
Oh, gosh. Dang it, I know.
Sorry to stump you there. I can't remember it myself.
He made the terrible.
It was Matt Devlin.
The one that made the terrible trade that cost the Grizzlies the chance to get Carmelo.
Sorry. Not great radio here. I try to look that up, but I can't remember it either. I'm trying to get the time frame in my mind.
Oh, gosh. I'll come up with it.
All right.
I will come up with it.
All right. In the meantime, DeMichael Cole's going to join us after this next time out. We will take the quick break, come back with more on the passing of Jerry West. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the Collierville Square has 25% off all men's Western boots on their boot wall. Now through Saturday for the special man in your life. Hewlett & Dunn has the Mid-South's largest inventory of boots and also has a huge selection of shirts, shorts, jeans, hats, and belts for dad as well. Hewlett & Dunn has your best price on boots for Father's Day with 25% off through Saturday. Hewlett & Dunn on the Collierville Square. Every man needs Hewlett & Dunn.
Summertime's finally here, and that means it's time to party. Lucky for you, Family Leisure is having a summertime to party sale. Now, what's all included in this party sale? Practically everything. 24-foot above ground pools for as little as $19.99. All ladders, filter systems, and even robotic cleaners are 20% off. Come in and look at all of the in-stock patio furniture Family Leisure has. Plus, it's up to 50% off. Play gyms for the kids, that's $1,000 off. Patio umbrellas, take 20% off. You can get a 4-person hot tub for just under $3,000. We know you're really going to just use it for yourself. Family Leisure has discounted pricing on all in-stock pool toys and floats while the supplies last, so you better get in quick. Plus, Family Leisure has special financing available. Just ask an associate for all the details. Summertime means party time, and Family Leisure is ready for any party. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun all come together.
Ken Garland, you are in your 72nd year of business. Your son William is now joining you. What do you think is the key to your longevity in the building business?
My dad started the business in 1965, and I think being on the job sites daily and being accessible to homeowners has been a key to our success.
You guys have a work ethic, as you like to say. You're not hiring people to be on the site. You guys are there every day.
We interact with the subcontractors multiple times a day on each job site. I think that has been a key, as well as using the same subcontractors 20-plus years in most cases.
When you talk about materials, what is the first thing you're thinking about when somebody comes to you to build a home?
We're just trying to meet the expectations of the client and the homeowner and the architect and give them what their dream is.
When you get a Ken Garland home, what do you guarantee?
We'll be there after the job is finished. We're still accessible to all our clients.
Now I need to know, how do I get a hold of Ken Garland?
You can reach us at kengarland.com.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:23 is the time. I forgot about this great nickname because we're so used to saying the logo, which is apropos. Zeke from Cabin Creek. That's what they used to call him, the pride of West Virginia. Jerry West, passing away at the age of 86.
Stu Jackson was the guy I was trying to think of. He's the one that made the terrible Otis Thorpe trade that cost them Carmelo Anthony. Or, well, they could have maybe drafted Darko. I guess they could have screwed that pickup as well. But Billy Knight was in between Stu Jackson and Jerry. So Billy Knight was the guy that he actually, I guess, replaced as running the franchise.
Yeah, Stu never came to Memphis.
No.
Billy Knight, I remember interviewing Billy Knight. So Billy Knight was the guy right before Jerry West. Without further ado, let's continue to talk about the passing of Jerry West, talk Grizzlies and the NBA draft with DeMichael Cole.
It's time to talk some Grizzlies basketball. Joining Greg and Eli is DeMichael Cole, Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal. Here's DeMichael with Greg and Eli.
We talk Grizzlies with DeMichael Cole each and every Wednesday here on Sports 56 Mornings. You can follow him on Twitter at DeMichaelC, and he joins us now. Boy, you banged out a story pretty quick, DeMichael. You're good at what you do.
Yeah, hey guys, it doesn't take long, but when it's someone like Jerry West, you pretty much already know what to say. I mean, if you've watched basketball, you know the name, and you know what he's meant to the game.
We lose a legend in Bill Walton less than 2 weeks ago. And now we lose maybe even a bigger name, I would say, in the world of basketball, but with the ties to Memphis. And that's why it hit so hard. Even though the guy lived an incredible life, he passes away at the age of 86, it's still kind of startling when you hear that news, but the whole Memphis connection thing kind of adds to it.
Yeah, he was one of the people who kind of got things going in the right direction here, right? Back to the pyramid days, back to, Pau Gasol and those days. But when I think of those times, you'll remember Jerry West pretty much as a winner his whole career, finals record aside, 9 appearances in the finals. Then he becomes an executive, a coach, and he's winning at all those levels. And he comes to Memphis, and I don't remember the exact words, but the idea of him coming to Memphis after he retired in L.A., it was pretty much the fact that he was like, I want to, I need a new challenge. Like, winning has become too easy for Jerry West at this point. He needed a new challenge. He wanted the satisfaction of building something from the start. And the Grizzlies, were a great opportunity, expansion team or whatever you say. They moved to Memphis, and that's what he did. First year there, I think they went 28-54. Then next 3 years, winning season, 50-32 record immediately. The next year, hires Hubie Brown, Coach of the Year, Executive of the Year. And I mean, he was great for Memphis during that time.
It's crazy because you said, and yeah, he talked about wanting a new challenge, but I think around the league, people were kind of like, okay, it's one thing to want a new challenge, but this is the Grizzlies. Like, they had done literally nothing. Like, you could find a challenge that's not impossible, because at that point, I'm sure it seemed like doing anything with the Grizzlies seemed impossible.
Yeah, I mean, look at the situation he walked into. I mean, the Vancouver Grizzlies at that point were, for lack of better words, were kind of like a laughingstock, right? Mm-hmm. They weren't generating huge numbers. That's why they came to Memphis and all of that. But yeah, he was put in a tough situation, but that's what he wanted. Like, he didn't want to go, the Lakers, I mean, if you remember when he retired, it was right after the 2000 championship. Like, if you were in the building, you probably were thinking, like, what the world? Like, I mean, not outside of the building, because they got Shaq, they got Kobe, and then he retires for a couple years, and then he comes to this situation where you're having to build around Pau Gasol, and this whole new look Grizzlies team or whatever. And, he turned it to a winning situation. I mean, it was only, that first year, they went 28-54, and after that, you get Pau, and then you draft some nice pieces around them, and you just add on things. Hubie Brown at the time was a great hire. I remember, I wrote about Hubie Brown, last year, and talked to him about the fact that his team was the first Grizzlies team to win 50 games.
Yep.
And I remember talking to Hubie Brown just about that situation and whatnot, and he was talking about how they weren't the most talented team, but the Grizzlies at that time, he and Jerry West would talk about ways that they had to win in areas where talent wasn't the most determining factor. They hustled, they played hard, and they played good defense, and they had players who wanted to win, and they had camaraderie and things like that. And you got to give Jerry West a lot of credit for building that in Memphis, and in a way, we kind of, credit the grit and grind era for starting that mentality in Memphis, but they were more of the identity of the city, I think. But those teams, those Hubie Brown and Jerry West squads, they weren't super talented. Like, they had to grit and grind their way to a lesser degree to those winning seasons as well.
Believe me, you were a little tot back then. I mean, I'm right in the middle of ABC and working over at Channel 24 and 30, and when that news came down that Jerry West was being hired, was startling. Startling news, just as much as it was when we were getting the Grizzlies. What? We're getting an NBA team. We're getting Jerry West. And then when he hired Hubie Brown, like you just said, it was a great hire. Well, no, at the beginning it wasn't a great hire because we all panned it. We all said, they're bringing in who? Hubie Brown? They're bringing back. They're dusting him off. And then he went out there and won 50. Who were we to argue or even go back and forth and debate a move that Jerry West made? But that's exactly what we did, and it ended up being fantastic as it turned around the organization. Now, unfortunately, they weren't able to turn that into success in the postseason, but it was absolutely incredible for this guy to have that notion to bring in Hubie Brown, that it would work, and it absolutely did. But you guys were talking about the challenge. Okay, I know he didn't change sports, and I know it was an executive and not a player, but I kind of equate this to Michael Jordan. He got bored. He wanted a new challenge. He left the Bulls after winning 3 championships and went and played professional baseball and then came back and won 3 more. So I think to a certain degree, he was bored, like you said, and he wanted a new challenge. And he challenged himself by coming to Memphis.
And that's what winners do, right? Like the winners, the top level winners, at some point, we talk about how winners have this with Kobe Bryant, I remember specifically, we talk about how he just psyched himself into believing stuff that wasn't even really true. Mm-hmm. And for Jordan, too, if you watch The Last Dance, like they used to say, oh, this guy said he's better than you, or this guy said he's better than you. And that's how, because at the end of the day, they were the best of the best, and they were so good. And you got to think about everyone's patting you on the back. Someone like Jerry West, you play in 9 NBA finals, win the NBA championship, finals MVP. I mean, you're the silhouette for the logo of the NBA. And then you go on the coaching, pretty decent tenure, but didn't win a championship. But he transitions to the executive role, hires the coach, and orchestrates the Showtime era, which is probably some of the best basketball that we've ever seen. In the NBA, like they really changed the way, from an entertainment perspective, they changed the way that we viewed the NBA, the Showtime Lakers did. So once you do all of that, and then, the 90s, 2000s, Shaq and Kobe, they win a championship, it's like, what's left for me to do? I was a pretty good coach. I was a pretty good player. I've been a pretty good executive, but this situation was the situation. Like, I'm the Lakers. The brand sells itself. Let me go to the Grizzlies. Like, that's what winners do, and I think Memphis is definitely grateful for that. And then he kind of expounded on that. He goes to the Clippers, to pretty much, at the end of his executive career, and builds they haven't won championships and whatnot yet. But, I mean, it was a courageous situation. Like, I turned, the Lakers, the Clippers have always been the laughing stock. Like, let me go to the Clippers and try to win. And, of course, he had a hand in Golden State's run as well, 2015 to 2017.
Yeah. I mean, when you just look back at all the different places and the success had in all of those places, and again, you go back to his playing career, and I mean, I don't remember him obviously, but like you just look at what he did. I mean, it's like the numbers are incredible, and I think part of it because he only has the one championship. It kind of like gets knocked down a little bit how good he was. But I mean, it was first team all NBA like every single year. He's the all-time leader in scoring in the NBA finals. Like I mean, he was unbelievable as a player.
Yeah. And think about the time when he played. Like, this is before my time, but guys, I'm a hoops head. Like I do my research on the games and whatnot. And when you see that finals record, it stands out, right? Like, how was someone able to go to the finals 9 times?
Yeah,
only one. Like, you look, you like study it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what happened? But then you learn the history of the game, and you learn one, there wasn't as many teams. How the talent was stacked up, like those Boston teams, for example. I mean, whole starting lineups, Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Like. It was. He played with some really good players as well. Jerry West did, some Hall of Famers. But I mean, he had his work cut out for him. It was almost, it reminded me of like LeBron James going against those Golden State teams, during his run. But you know what? In spite of all that, he still managed to win 8 championships, as an executive. So 9. I mean, you got 10 fingers. You got 9 rings. So. That's a pretty good way to do it.
Yeah, I want to move on for a moment from this, even though certainly this is the story of the day. I want to talk about the draft and your recent stories about that. But as I mentioned when this news broke, remember his son, Johnny West, part of his younger years was growing up in Memphis and playing at Lausanne with Marc Gasol. He's now married to Michelle Wee, and I don't know if they have kids yet, but certainly want to send our thoughts out to all the, the folks that were friends with Jerry West and his family, and that situation with, I'm sure all these years have gone by, but a lot of people still have a relationship from when Jerry was here in Memphis. But again, Johnny had a relationship with a lot of young people here who are now adults and grown up in the Memphis area. DeMichael Cole is joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. So a couple of things you've written about, obviously with the draft, including most recently, I think, was the 3 ideal trades to move up to possibly get Donovan Clingan. Let's go over that a little bit. Do you think that's the guy they've zeroed in on? And if at all possible, do you think that's what they're trying to do, is to move into position? Because I don't think anybody in their right mind believes he'll be available at 9.
No, yeah, it's unlikely. And you want to plan for the other scenario. You want to plan for the idea that in case he's high up on other teams' draft boards, you want to position yourself to be able to get your guy. At the end of the day, if the Grizzlies trade up, it's only for one guy. They're not trading up to get anyone else. They're only trading up to get Donovan Clingan, if that's the case. So with that being said, I think that, yeah, he is the guy that they zeroed in on from that perspective. There are some guys that they like at 9. I talked a lot about Dalton Connett and whatnot. But if they're able, because the thing about the Grizzlies, and you'll probably notice it in the trade scenarios that I laid out, like, they're never going to they're not going to give you too much. The Grizzlies aren't going to get, robbed in these trades too often. Like, they don't get desperate. And quite frankly, they're going to get their big somewhere or another, whether it's free agency, whether it's through the draft. And they're fine either way. But he's the guy that makes the most sense financially, get good bang for your buck. You can get a rookie big who can come in on day one, be impactful and whatnot. And I think that is the ideal scenario. So, yeah, the Grizzlies, if they trade up, he's the guy.
The one that you have to get the Rockets number 3 pick, I think is interesting because that's obviously a lot more moving parts than the others where it's just draft picks. But the idea of ending up with Jose Alvarado, I think would be awesome in that when you talk about a team that wants to defend the way they do. Also, it's interesting just because you got Dylan Brooks moving teams again as well in there, but also giving up Luke Kennard in that situation. So, if you were to just out of these ones that you laid out, what would you think would be the most likely possibility?
Charlotte at 6, because and in that one I think I have the Grizzlies traded 9 and a future lottery protected first. Charlotte goes up to 6. I mean, Charlotte at 6 trades 6 to the Grizzlies. That seems like the most likely. The other trade mentioned is the the one that I think the Portland at 7 and the Grizzlies trade 9 and 39, which is their second round pick. That one makes sense more on the Grizzlies side, but at the same time, Portland already has a ton of draft assets. The Charlotte one makes the most sense. Charlotte has Mark Williams. They may have interest in Donovan Clingan, but it makes sense for them to, move back to 9, pick up an additional first, going young, build around what they have there and whatnot. But that seems the most likely. The number 3, that's the big one, right? That's the one. Like, if the Grizzlies move up to number 3, it's going to take a lot. Yeah. Like, if you want to say we're getting Donovan Clingan no matter what, you got to go up to like 3. Houston, for example, Houston is probably not going to stay at 3. Like, Houston is in a similar position as the Grizzlies from the standpoint of they want to win now. They have all these young guys. They got the Jalen Greens, Alperen Sengun, Jabari, Smith, Tari Eason. Then they got the vets, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, etc. Like, they're built to get ready to compete right now. Number 3 pick doesn't really move them forward in that process. So, Mikal Bridges is a name that's been thrown out there a lot for them, but I used Brandon Ingram in this case simply because when you look at the Pelicans situation, a lot of people have been talking about it down there. Like, it's very clear that the Ingram-Zion duo is probably about to run its course. Like, it's an imperfect parent. And the perfect way for them to move off of that and the Pelicans to still be competitive is Brandon Ingram goes to a situation like Houston, where Houston can get one of their all-star caliber players that kind of catapults them into the next level. The Grizzlies would trade Luke Kennard in that scenario, where you get a shooter to the Pelicans. They need shooting to put around Zion, and Herb Jones, and those dudes have improved, but more like another guy outside of Trey Murphy. Like, Trey Murphy is like their Desmond Bain. He has to do all the shooting, and he's the one guy you can rely on. Outside of him, you're praying and hoping. So you get Luke Kennard over there. I think it makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, the most likely one is probably 6 with Charlotte.
DeMichael Cole joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. Of course, you can read all his great stories at the Commercial Appeal and follow him on Twitter at DeMichaelC. So your first mock, and I'm not sure how many more you're going to do before the draft, which is 2 weeks from today, starts 2 weeks from tomorrow. You had Connect at number 9. And who knows what'll happen in front. But if it comes down to it where they can get Connect, why do you like Connect so much? And who are other guys that you consider there at 9?
Well, it starts with Connect. The main thing is the shooting. We've talked about, like, just the idea that the Grizzlies need more shooting. And I don't look at Connect as an automatic replacement for, Luke Kennard or whatever the case may be. Because, quite frankly, I feel like he's an addition. Luke Kennard and Desmond Bain as your 2 automatic shooters. I think there are guys who could take leaps. Like Santi Aldama, I would not be surprised if he's a 37, 38% three-point shooter next season. Vince Williams. Those guys are more than capable. But right now, as of what we know at this moment, Desmond Bain and Luke Kennard are the only 2 three-point shooters that you can rely on. Mm-hmm. Game time, the ball's in their hands on the three-point line, I'm okay with it. If he make or miss, I'm okay with it. Those 2 guys, that's it. Anyone else, why did he take that shot? Unless they're having a great night or something. So with all that being said, if you've been paying attention the last couple of years, the Grizzlies feel the same way. They know that, okay, now that we have Ja, Dez, and Jaren, we need shooting in the worst way around this team. The idea has been there. The execution hasn't. They wanted David Roddy to be a good, stretch 4, play the 3 sometimes, shoot above league average from 3-point range. Didn't work out. There was the idea that Jake LaRavia could be more shooter than scorer, could be a nice knockdown shooter for them. To this point, has not worked out. Kennedy Chandler. Even though there were questions about how his shooting would translate and whatnot, mechanic-wise and things like that, his shooting numbers in college at UT were good, and that was something that Zach Kleiman has pointed out. When he was talking about Kennedy Chandler, how he was a good college three-point shooter. So,
Zaire?
Yeah, the idea has been there, but the execution has not. And Dalton Connect feels like a safe option.
Do you think Dalton Connect would get PT? I mean, he's the 9th overall pick, if that would happen. But I'm looking at the Grizzlies if they don't deal Kennard. Where's the playing? I'm still trying to figure out where the playing time is for G.G. Jackson. And I hope he plays, but there are some people that say that he may not, depending on what kind of moves they make. But right now, if they don't trade away a Kennard or trade away a Marcus Smart, I don't see minutes for a guy like Connect as a rookie.
I mean, at the end of the day, the rotation for the most part is mostly set. But I think there's some minutes there for him. But minutes is like a ninth guy. It's not, he's not going to come in and play 26, 27 minutes or things like that, because you want Vince Williams to be one of your better shooters. Like that's what you want. Vince Williams has been a plus 3-point shooter pretty much most of his career up to this point. You want that to continue to translate. And if that's the case, you have Luke Kennard and potentially a Vince Williams off the bench. And then Dalton Connect works his way into it. You got Marcus Smart, being your backup point guard. And that opens up some minutes somewhere in there, as he's your ninth guy, he's your 10th guy. So I don't see him having a huge role. And then there's, like the rotation moves around. Like guys going to, you need options. Like right now, if something happens to Vince Williams, if he turns an ankle or G.G. Jackson or whatever, the next guy is John Conchar. And I think Dalton Connect is an upgrade over that.
Well, that's throughout the season, guys are missing games. Like there's going to be opportunities that because people are out. You've talked about it all the time with like the regular season depth and how you need it. Now in the playoffs, is Dalton Connect getting minutes? Who knows? Like that probably would depend on how he plays versus a GG versus others throughout the regular season. But just big guys missing games, everything else, you're going to get opportunities throughout the regular season.
Oh, don't bite your tongue. Missing games. I don't want to hear that.
Well, even if they're healthy, they sit out. Like
I'm just kidding.
Guys are going to play 65 to 70 games at most, probably.
I understand that. DeMichael, great stuff. Thank you. I know it's been a busy morning with the passing of Jerry West. Thank you for jumping back on with us as you do each and every week. He is Grizzlies beat writer for the Commercial Appeal, DeMichael Cole. You can follow him on Twitter at DeMichaelC. We'll talk to you again next Wednesday.
All right, take care, guys.
Thanks, DeMichael. By the way, it was, Kevin O'Connor reporting that the Trailblazers, the Raptors, and the Cavaliers are all trying to move up as well in the draft.
Folks, don't let rising costs and high interest rates bum you out right now at Genesis Diamonds. Pick any item, any piece of jewelry in the store at Genesis Diamonds, and you can pay $0 down and spread your payments out over 5 years at 0.0 interest. That's right. While interest rates are going up and price, everything else, well, Genesis is offering real interest rate relief, and you can take advantage of it this month through the end of the month at Genesis Diamonds, 0.0 for 5 years. And that's on anything from an engagement ring to a pre-owned Rolex watch to a pair of earrings or a necklace. Whatever it is, you can get it 0 interest for 5 years on any purchase at Genesis Diamonds. That's with approved credit. Go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds again before the end of June. They're located at Poplar and Perkins Extended. Take advantage of this great offer. 0 interest for 5 years at Genesis Diamonds.
All right, when we come back, a statement from Adam Silver on the passing of Jerry West. A couple of other news and notes that we weren't able to get to earlier. We'll do that in our final segment. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Celebrate Father's Day this year at Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Introducing the Ping G430 Max 10K driver. Straighter flies farther with Ping's straightest driver yet. And from Bushnell, the new Tour V6 Series laser rangefinder provides you the most accurate distances in golf. Now $50 off. Shop with us this Father's Day in store or online. Edwin Watts Golf Shops by Worldwide Golf. Get there.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking the bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, vegan and gluten-free options available, convenience, and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com. So whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, locations at Ridgeway and Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli, it's wholesome food and no surprises.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hi, this is James Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out of food.
Corky's Barbecue.
Hi, this is James Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We have been serving up our legendary barbecue for more than 39 years, right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Whether you're dining in, picking up in our drive-thru, or serving our famous barbecue at your office or home, with Corky's Party Pack, you are the hit of the party. Barbecue pulled pork, baked beans, coleslaw, barbecue sauce, and buns, starting at only $8.49 per person. And as you know, we send plenty of food. You never have to worry about running out of food.
Summer's heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choate's Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choate's generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choate's and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choate's and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. Choate's, let our family serve your family.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. And once again, Mark Gaston and Eli Support.
Welcome back, everybody. Final segment here on this busy Wednesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Couple of notes that we weren't able to get to earlier. South Carolina has hired Paul Maneri out of retirement to take over the baseball program. The former LSU coach had so much success there. 5-year deal, $1.3 million annually. Welcome back, Paul. Easy to come out of retirement for that type of money. Arkansas State has named Mike Silva as their new baseball head coach. Alan Shipnuck, the great golf writer, said a prominent agent with clients both on the PGA Tour and LIV told him that a draft agreement was signed on Tuesday that finalizes Saudi Arabia's investment in the PGA Tour. We talked to Steve Sands a little bit about that yesterday, but really that news had just come out. I don't know what it all means in the long run, but hopefully that is positive. It's not negative news, so certainly that's some positive news. Also, if you missed it earlier, there was a report out of Louisville, Kentucky, from a Louisville assistant coach that Memphis and Louisville are working on a future basketball series to start in 25-26, a 4-year series. So hopefully that will come to fruition, but no surprise there. Try to bring that old rivalry back into good standing. They've only played 5 times in the last 20 years. And NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has released a statement on the passing of Jerry West. Jerry West was a basketball genius and a defining figure in our league for more than 60 years. He distinguished himself not only as an NBA champion and an all-star in all 14 of his playing seasons, but also as a consummate competitor who embraced the biggest moments. He was the league's first finals MVP and made rising to the occasion his signature quality, earning him the nickname Mr. Clutch, another nickname. Jerry's 4 decades with the Lakers also included a successful stint as a head coach and a remarkable run in the front office that cemented his reputation as one of the greatest executives in sports history. He helped build 8 championship teams during his tenure in the NBA, a legacy of achievement that mirrors his on-court excellence. And he will be enshrined this October into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame as a contributor, becoming the first person ever inducted as both a player and a contributor. I valued my friendship with Jerry and the knowledge he shared with me over many years about basketball and life. On behalf of the NBA, we send our deepest condolences to Jerry's wife, Karen, his family, and his many friends in the NBA community.
Tomorrow morning, a guy who had, we'll have some stories about Jerry West.
I'm sure he will.
Ron Tillery, who, of course, the longtime Grizzlies beat writer, who was the beat writer at that time, had some interesting conversations through the years with Jerry West. So he'll join us tomorrow morning at 8:05. We'll talk a little bit about Jerry and some of those stories that Ron has from those days of covering the team when Jerry was in charge. This weekend, this Sunday, the St. Louis Church Hole-in-One Festival, the great event, which we'll get, they do every single year over there, always a great time. Gets underway Sunday, Father's Day. It runs all next week through Saturday. I've got a couple more large buckets of balls for somebody that wants to go out there and hit some golf balls, and heck, who knows? You might win a car. He could win great prizes every single night, but you might win a car out at the Hole-in-One Charity Festival at St. Louis Church. Caller number 2 for 2. We'll go 2 for 2. Caller number 2, 2 buckets of balls to go on out to the St. Louis Church Hole-in-One Festival next week. Again, it gets underway on Sunday and runs all next week through Saturday. Caller number 2 at 360-8255, 360-8255. Can get those 2 large buckets of balls. Fleet Feet is the place to go to get all your running gear. You want to make sure you get shoes that are just right for you. Go see the folks at Fleet Feet at either one of their 2 locations in East Memphis, Laurelwood Shopping Center. They will take care of you there. Or you could go down to Collierville, Poplar, and Houston Levy, next door to the Hueys there. You go in, they take a look at the way you run, the way you walk, and they'll fit you with shoes that are just right for you. Any other gear you need, well, they got that for you as well, from your shirts and shorts and hats and sunglasses, anything, socks, whatever. They've got you all taken care of. They're all about runners at Fleet Feet. They do their group runs and other things that you can get involved with. If you want to know what's going on in the running community, keep up with the folks at Fleet Feet. Online, fleetfeetmemphis.com. They're on social media as well. They'll keep you up to date with what's going on in the running community. But to get your shoes and everything else, go see the folks at Fleet Feet.
We do have our winner. One final note on the NBA and Speculation City. Zach Lowe, Jonathan Gavoni have talked about the Grizz last week as a team that likes the draft, could make multiple picks. They've shown interest in talents up and down the first round. Portland, Toronto, and Cleveland all have NBA bigs that could make sense for the Grizzlies. I want to thank Jonah Dillon, Lawrence Dockery, DeMichael Cole for joining us on the show today. Tomorrow, Ron Tillery on the passing of Jerry West. We'll talk baseball with Kerry Miller, plus Ole Miss guard Matthew Morrell, who's coming back for another season. He'll join us at 9:30. Waldo and Friends on Sports 56 is next. For Eli and Zach, I'm Greg. Have a great day, everybody.